I've been wanting to record a more serious chat with TFM for a while now, since he's largely known for having a laugh on his channel these days and not taking things all too seriously. Because unless people go back and look at his earlier scripted videos, they fail to see the wealth of introspection he has on many important issues, I think. Couple that with my recent videos where I speak about the philosophical importance of saying yes to yourself more than no, where some people suggested in the comment section that I was secretly calling out TFM in these videos for being so negative, and we'd somehow had a falling out. Well, it was the perfect opportunity to record a conversation with him about some important topics. The following is our chat. Okay, let's get this conversation started with a notion we've all described in one way or another in relation to the societal landscape, effectively the two personas that exist in opposition today. On one side there's discipline, on the other chaos, or more simply, the parent versus the child. TFM, what are your thoughts when you look at society today?
Well, it all comes down to authority and responsibility. So, no one wants responsibility. I think it's actually against human nature. In fact, I think, there's some the guy who always thought everyone wants to have sex with their mother, whatever that psychiatrist or psychologist was. You know what I'm talking about? The one who thought everyone wants to have sex with their mom.
Yeah, Sigmund Freud.
Sigmund Freud. Yeah, there's a quote from Freud where he said that people are terrified of responsibility. I don't even want to try to remember the full quote, but it's a really good quote. It's true. People hate responsibility. They would rather give up their freedom if it means responsibility. And that's the average person. Now, there is a special kind of person who is willing to accept responsibility if they value their freedom and they're willing to take responsibility. And those are the people who change the world. Those are the people who, like the parent, they're the ones who they get shit done. But it takes a kind of person to do that. It's not necessarily all men. I don't think women are really capable of it. I mean, there might be a few exceptions on the extreme end of the bell curve in like the autistic lesbian camp, but generally I think it's a male thing. But I don't think it applies to all men. I think it applies to a select group of men who are willing to take responsibility and be leaders. And the problem with society is we've separated authority from responsibility. So they want men to be responsible, but then they take away all the incentive, all the reward, like the carrot. They have the stick. They want to hit you with that responsibility, but there's no reward for it. So you look at it and you're like, no, fuck that. And then everyone's wondering like, oh, where are all the good men? There's no reason. Like when you incentivize bad men and you punish good men and you wonder where all the good men went, well, it's not a fucking Scooby-Doo mystery where they went. You drove them away because you wanted equality. But if you need men to be responsible for women, for society, for families, well, then you take away their authority in the name of equality, then there's no reason for men to take responsibility anymore. And then lo and behold, men walk away. You did this. This is what you wanted.
Yeah. I agree with you because you see, I can't remember who it was. I think it was Norman Mailer said something about the function of democracy as it actually isn't to free people. It's to tap into people's subconscious desire to be led. So it's not actually people think it's freedom. Like you and I have both mentioned that a lot of people want things. A lot of people would love to be able to do things, but they don't actually look at who they are and whether or not they grab it if it was in front of them. A lot of times when the opportunity is in front of them and something's handed to somebody, a lot of people go, oh, fuck, I didn't think you were actually going to give it to me. It's like when a lot of the left complain about, well, if I had money, that's, I don't have money or I'm not given the chance. That's why I'm being held back. And the moment, I can't remember, a few millionaires who listen to this, they go, okay, I'll give you $1 million right now. What's your plan? And they'll go, I don't have a plan. What do you mean? So you're not serious about it. You just aspire to these things. So it's like the people who have New Year's resolutions and want to get fit. A lot of people aspire to and have the carrot in front of them of, wouldn't it be great if? But then when they're handed this thing, a lot of people don't have the character, I think, to actually do it. But you've got the other sort of person. I think the more people who get a lot out of action. So whether you're a person that loves adventure or traveling, or you're a person that's creative and loves actually doing stuff, if you've got a tactile sense of, I've experienced it and I know my freedom lies in actually doing things and touching things and creating things, then you're more likely to do something with freedom when it's given to you. You're more likely to do something with money when it's given to you. You're more likely to do something where if you only had to work 1 or 2 days a week, then you'd be able to make more of your time outside of it. But most people just have it as a convenient dream. And then when they're given it, it's kind of an excuse. Well, look, I don't know what to do. Their mind tries to play mental gymnastics and looks for an excuse to get them out of the spotlight of responsibility.
That's it. It's all about responsibility. If you ever listen to motivational speeches by like successful people, basically the key of being successful is you have to be a self-starter. You have to be able to set goals. Like you have to take responsibility. You have to get up and you have to bust your ass. You have to work hard and you have to basically have a vision of where you're going. You have to, like the difference you were talking about is the difference between someone who sets goals and someone who makes wishes. Everyone wishes, oh, I wish this, I wish that. Well, what's your plan on getting there? And they'll look at you like, what? Like, yeah, like if I have a goal of I want to retire with $1 million, I'm going to chart out how to get from A to B, and then I'm going to set, kind of milestone goals so I can track my progress. I'm going to create a plan to get my goal. But if I'm just like, I wish I had $1 million, wouldn't it be nice if I had $1 million, but I'm not doing anything to achieve it. I'm just wishing. Wishing is not a plan. That's like these people who think they're going to play the lottery when they retire. Like, I'll just buy a bunch of lottery tickets right before I retire. And that's my retirement plan. Like, that's okay. I hope Walmart is hiring greeters when you retire, because that's going to be your only job.
Yeah. It's the people, whatever the thing they're trying to sort of, what I've noticed is, say in a lot of the creative fields that I've sort of been involved in, say for instance illustration, there's a cliche of there's some guys who won't pick up a pencil until they get paid. And to me, it's the same as entrepreneurs and self-starters, that you'll be doing it even if you're not paid because you're passionate to do it. And at least if you've got that start and you do it because you love doing it and you're actionable in something, like nothing really stops you. You fight to actually lean in that direction. Then I'll listen to that person when they tell me, oh, well, this A, B, and C has been stopping me. But they've actually got proof that they've actually tried to do certain things. And there might be certain roadblocks, or you might be able to talk through clarifying, okay, have you tried this? Have you tried that? And that person actually wants to find a way, whereas most people don't. They, even with guys who are trying to go their own way, a lot of guys are just thinking their own way or wishing their own way. And it's a nice kind of hamster wheel exercise, like playing a video game, but none of them actually want to go out in their life and start talking about these things as just serious, not in a rude way. I say to some guys, like, what are you afraid of? If someone asks your opinion, if you're around people and they're talking about social dynamics and they're talking about men and women and society and, what's gone wrong and the birth rate and all this stuff, and they're giving you the opinions from primetime news, which everyone knows, and they're sound bites. And it's not really thinking, it's regurgitation of like one-liners. And you're
absorbing your personality from around you rather than developing one yourself.
Yeah, and it's very easy to just mimic those and everyone nod their head and approve of you, and women still want to fuck you, right? But if you actually say something, oh, well, look, I think this, and you're not being angry, you're not being rude, and then you get attacked for it, that's where you can really tell where society's gone in terms of this character of, the adult versus child, where the child gets really upset the moment you say something they don't like, or you tell them they can't drink chocolate milk for dinner. With that kind of personality running things, aside from all the underpinning stuff about, what you said is 100% right in terms of authority. And the only authority really that can be used properly is by the parent. But if the child's running the show, it can't do anything with authority. It's almost like another language. At best, it's an idea that they can aspire to, but they're so young that they can't do anything with authority. So you give all these university students who are probably leading most of the left's rhetoric, you give them authority and say, okay, you guys run the world, which they are doing at the moment. And the system's rubbing their hands together because they're their sort of, what do they call them? The useful idiots.
Mm-hmm.
And it works well, but they don't know what to do with it. There's someone, they can't be Olympians because they're too young. They're too scared to run with it because no one in their group runs with it. And it's only the outlier that does. But once you become an outlier from being a child, you unfortunately grow up, and then you don't belong to that, comfortable group of children wanting a handout anymore.
Well, you're okay. You can't actually separate responsibility from authority. All you can do is basically make people disproportionately responsible. Like, authority comes naturally with responsibility in a true sense. But all you can do is strip away the authority from the responsible party and give it to someone, but then that's going to piss the fuck off of the person who's responsible. And I'll give you the perfect example. So let's take male, female, parent, child off the table. Let's talk about like universal health care. Like, do you have universal health care in Australia? I don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, big time.
Okay. So, for example, you have a universal health care system. You are making the government responsible for your health care. Because the government is responsible for your health care, it now has the authority to tell you how to live your life. It can now ban things like, not wearing a helmet while you're riding a motorcycle, getting too fat. It can now, if you were responsible for your health care, no one would care what you did with your body. You don't want to wear a helmet? Who cares? You want to be 600 pounds? Who cares? Because I'm not paying for it. It's not hurting anyone. It's not costing me any money. Do whatever you want. It's your body. But when you put the taxpayer and the government, when you make them responsible for your body by making them pay for your health care, now they have a vested interest in telling you what to do with your body. Hence all these different laws and regulations about health and all this other stuff like that, which would not exist if the government was not responsible for you. So when you make someone responsible for you, they naturally desire authority. Now, so in society, parents have authority over children. Men had authority over families, women in society. That's what worked for millennia. And then we had this idea about gender equality. But the only way when men are responsible for women, that's never changed. Throughout all the waves of feminism, men have never stopped being responsible for women. All that's changed is we've stripped their authority away and artificially given it to women in the name of equality. And you can see this in the innumerable double standards in the law, where like certain things are actually a crime for a man and they're not a crime for a woman, or things are harsher for a man than for a woman, because we're still putting men as a responsible party for a woman. Perfect example is if a man and a woman are drunk and they have drunken sex, the man is guilty of rape, but the woman is a rape victim. They didn't both rape each other. They didn't just have drunken, regrettable sex. No, the man is a rapist because he is responsible for his actions when he's drunk, but the woman is not. She is a rape victim. That is the perfect example of men being responsible for women. But then you can't say, oh, men are responsible for women, but men and women are equal. That's a contradiction. And everyone knows this is bullshit. And you see people like on the right trying to like, oh, I thought feminism was about equality. Don't be dense. No, it wasn't. It was never about equality. It's about taking what feminism is in a very broad sense, is about liberating women from all the responsibilities they had to men while maintaining male responsibility for women. They want to have their cake and eat it too, which doesn't work. And what you've seen is as they've continued to push the envelope for trying to liberate women and making men responsible, men are walking away. Because just like I use the analogy of, let's say you were given a promotion at some job and they put you in charge of a department, but they outright told you had no authority over that department. So if the department underperformed, you'd be yelled at. Your pay would be docked. You'd be punished if your department underperformed. But you could not tell the employees what to do. You couldn't punish them. You couldn't do anything to them. Basically, you could, encourage them, but you had no power to actually affect anything for the employees. You were basically their equal. But if they fucked up, you were going to be blamed for it. You would quit that job. I don't care how much it paid. You'd walk away like, this is bullshit. You can't say I'm in charge of something, but then all my employees are my equals, but then I'm blamed when they screw up. That doesn't make any sense. But that's exactly what men are expected to do in modern society. They're expected to be equal with women, even children in some cases, but they're also blamed for everything, and they have no power to affect anything. It doesn't make sense. So just like you would walk away from that job, men are like, this doesn't make any sense. Can I change it? The men's rights have been trying to change it for decades. They've not. It's only gotten worse because women vote. They're the majority of voters. You'll never get a single law reformed as long as women vote.
Well,
in fact,
this is the thing. I was actually no, I didn't mean to interrupt. But before I forget the point, this is unfortunately the ball started rolling because it's gotten so bad in the recent couple of generations that the elephant's so big in the room that it's taking up the whole room. And you can't breathe anymore. And so men are kind of going, look, I can't breathe figuratively in society, as in it's so unfair. And to use your business analogy, I've always kind of thought that gynocentrism tries to still say to men, you're the CEO, look, you're in charge, but our office is in the mailroom and we've got the suit on. And gynocentrism has got the mailroom suit on, but they're in the top floor in the CEO's office and saying, you're my boss, but don't do anything you're not supposed to do or you're fired. But somehow you run the company from the bottom. You can, like you said, go to a job and say, at least, if I'm gonna give you $100, at least give me $20 back, at least something. And the equivalent of that was back in the day when we did all the dying and did all the work and did everything, at least we have the respect and some authority, which was the 20%. But now there's nothing and there's no reciprocity. It's kind of, I give you $100 and you give me nothing. And on top of that, you give me shit and tell me I should be grateful. The thing's gotten so inverted. And what's ridiculous is that what they've done is rather than going, oh shit, look at the demographics, the suicide rate, the divorce rate, the birth decline, everything, rather than kind of going, let's look at the cause of this. Men aren't getting married. Men aren't having children. Men are going their own way. Men are the cause of this decline, but for the causes of self-preservation. And rather than going to men and asking them, all you get is ramp up the volume of gynocentrism. It's almost like things are bad. How can we make it worse? Let's do more of the shit at a higher volume and more frantically than ever before. Maybe that'll fix things. It's gone that way. So I think whether they want to change things or the men's rights groups have any impact or not, I think nature will correct itself eventually, you'd hope, before the human race dies. But I think it'll have little to do with any ism, whether it's feminism, men's rights, all that kind of stuff. I really think the answer comes from individual men all being aware of this, and en masse, a whole bunch of individual people just open their eyes and see reality for what it is. So you don't have to tell a whole bunch of guys to join a group and tell them the sky's blue. What's happened is individual men are now noticing the sky's fucking blue, and no matter how much you tell me it's green, it's not. And I think a change for the better in terms of the species survival will come from more and more guys going, you know what? I'm not saying the sky's green anymore. Fuck you, it's blue. I'm tired having to keep saying that the sky's green and be punished for it.
Right. So you're right. I've said my way of phrasing it is feminism is a self-correcting problem, and it's because of the fertility rate. However, what's interesting is men don't control the fertility rate, like at all. The fertility rate is completely in the hands of the women. It's the women who aren't having kids. It's not the men. If men put their foot down and chose not to have kids, I mean, women can sperm jack a man. What's funny is stealthing is rape. If a man tells a woman he's wearing a condom and he either cuts the tip off or takes the condom off when she's not looking, that's considered a form of rape. If a man lies about his birth control, but women can lie about birth control. They can dig your condom out of the trash and rub it inside their vaginas to get pregnant. That's not even a crime if a woman does it. But if a man takes his condom off and doesn't notify the woman, he's a rapist. But women control the fertility rate. The reason why the fertility rate is low isn't because men are walking away. There's plenty of thirsty men that'll come inside of a pussy if a woman offers it. The problem is women don't want kids. And it's because they have careers, they go to school, they don't want to have big families. They understand that.
What I've just
Here's the
thought
thing.
of, just before you continue, men and women used to be in the same team, and now it's almost like two different religions fighting against each other.
I think you're being too nostalgic. Women and men were never on the same team. Women basically relied on men for their survival, so they kept their mouths shut. Here's the thing. What I was going to say was, women don't want lots of kids because they understand. I think I want to say it was Stardust who said that basically the belief is women are the romantic ones and men are the practical ones, but it's actually men who are the romantic ones and it's women who are the practical ones. Women know having large families is a liability. It affects their lifestyle. But men don't mind providing for a family. Like, in fact, one of the things I learned with Celestina is I like buying her stuff. I like taking care of her. You actually do derive some kind of primal joy from taking care of a woman. But obviously women, that doesn't exist. Like, women don't like pampering men. It is something, the gender roles work. They're hardwired into our biology through evolution. So the way instincts work and emotions work is they're basically a primitive form of behavior modification, because animals, they basically seek pleasure and avoid pain. So the way an instinct promotes survival and reproduction is by making behaviors that promote survival and reproduction feel good, and behaviors which don't promote survival and reproduction not feel good. So because animals seek pleasure and avoid pain, they do what feels good. So by fulfilling your biological function, you give yourself pleasure. Men find pleasure in taking care of women. This is why these guys give these $1,000 donations to these booby streamers on Twitch. They know they're not going to get laid. It's not like she's going to call them up and like, oh, can I come over and fuck you? They enjoy. They actually derive pleasure from giving women money and taking care of women, even if they know they're not going to get laid at the tail end of it. So it's kind of interesting having Celestina, because I've had her for like almost a year. August 15th is our anniversary. I don't know what you call that, birthday, anniversary. I don't know. But yeah, I've had her for a year. And so I've actually learned a lot, because if it's something a man can do with a doll, clearly it only exists in your brain. You can't blame that on something else. So, I've learned a little bit about myself that I didn't understand before, just because things I thought were mutual, things I thought were kind of reciprocal, I actually realized weren't. They only existed in my head, but they weren't less real. They're these instincts. So the thing is men are walking away because the juice isn't worth the squeeze, as Barbarossa's famous of saying. But at the same time, men still have these desires and they derive pleasure from fulfilling their biological role, and the gynocentric society takes advantage of that. It exploits men's desire to protect women and provide for women by literally enslaving them. And
what I wanted to just interject was, like, I didn't want you to get me wrong or the listeners to get me wrong in terms of being on the same team. I meant functionally and by necessity, in the same way that the employer and employee are on the same team, or they should be on the same page to cooperatively work together. I'm in no way kind of suggesting that men and women are the same. They're complements of each other to sort of get to the biological end result of the species.
Yeah, the problem with, I don't like the word complement. The problem is complementarianism has been corrupted. Complementarianism used to mean basically the man has a certain role, which includes authority over women and family, and the woman has a certain role, and together they work in harmony, even though the woman is basically kind of like the employee and the man is the CEO. But now complementarianism has taken on this new egalitarian, I guess because they have the word Aryan in them, complementarianism, egalitarianism. They're so close. They must mean the same thing. So now there's this belief that even though men and women, they have these different roles, but the roles are equal. No, they're not. Like a woman's role, and you could tell this, for a man to be a successful man, look at all the hoops he has to jump through. Then for a woman to be a successful woman, all she has to do is shit out a couple kids a couple times during her life, and there, she's done. She is a successful woman. She's made it. Her highest calling as a human being has been fulfilled by shitting out a couple human beings at some point in her life.
Well, you see it in the media where they keep pushing over time. They keep lowering the bar for female excellence. Like, a fat woman's sexy. Now this is sexy. Now this is attractive. Like they keep lowering the bar of what we're supposed to be brainwashed in thinking is high value. Whereas a man's bar just keeps getting pushed up, and he needs to try harder. And I remember listening to a podcast recently where they were talking in terms of psychotherapy about the suicide rate of men. And one of the women on the panel, her solution was basically, well, it's not that we need to look at men. It's that it's the quality of men that we have, the degree to which men have actually let themselves down and let themselves go. So there's this whole thing about men need to try harder, man up. We've dropped the ball. We need to take our women back. We've let society down. We're the ones that have, left the guard post. But women, we're lowering the guard. We're fat, pregnant, dumb. Women are elevated like Kim Kardashian to the level of, deities, and they can do no wrong. And we keep having to find them either attractive or intelligent, no matter that if we ask them to prove it, if, you're intelligent, show me why you're intelligent. Okay, if you're attractive, that's self-evident. But we have to keep lowering our bar for women, but for men, it's just ever increasing. And I know that that's because we've taken away even more responsibility from women, and men have to pick up the slack. But it's just an interesting and infuriating thing sometimes I wonder how long even the traditionalists and the tradcons are going to put up with it. And I think recently in the last couple of years, the more we've seen certain traditionalist videos come on, almost like a last siren call, I wonder how long even they're going to say, you know what, fuck it, it's enough. My friends have been divorced and.
Right. Yeah. The track. I said this. Every man has a line. So at some point in this train, I call this crazy train has no brakes. Right now, someone actually informed me the other day, women, because they've been talking about this for a couple of years, they successfully did it. Menstrual products are now being covered by insurance. So now everybody's premiums have to go up because women can't be fucked to spend $5 on tampons a month.
Yeah, here in Australia.
So, was it us? I don't know. I don't know if it was Australia or something, but it's like, this is what, see, feminism, feminism is spoiled children. Like, you remember Veruca Salt from Willy Wonka? She's the girl in the red dress who wants it all now.
Yeah.
That's the modern woman. That's the poster child of the modern woman living in a gynocentric society. She's so spoiled. And yet she's miserable and hateful, and she always wants more, and she wants it now. And you have like the father, if you remember from Willy Wonka, the father's like always like trying to console her and trying to promise her and trying to like calm her down. That's what the modern, the new male is trying to do. You have this spoiled child who's just flying off the handle and screaming, talking about, I hate you, give me this, give me that. And you're like, oh, darling, darling. And that's like the tradcon. He's like trying to console her. And the reason why is this kind of goes like when I've talked to tradcons, they value society. They don't want society to collapse. But they also understand the political reality. Women vote. And so they play this political game. Oh, if we just get enough Republicans elected, we'll pass good policies. We'll undo the indoctrination centers in the schools, and then in 100 years we'll have this new generation that will blah blah blah. It's like they're always thinking, like they're thinking so far ahead that they're ignoring that like people's lives are being destroyed today. Men are being driven to suicide today, and you're enabling it because you have this 100-year plan that if you're just going to elect a few more Republicans, this is going to happen. And so they're almost like they're like Sun Tzu called it strategy without tactics.
Yeah.
So they're all strategy and no tactics. Then you have the MRAs that are all tactics and no strategy.
Yeah, but I've often mentioned this as well. A lot of these people that find their answers in the big picture external aren't actually addressing things in their own life. So it's kind of laziness to kind of go, once we fix the quote unquote system, we're banking on that. Meanwhile, I'll allow the house to burn where I am around me, and I won't speak up and I won't say anything. And I've heard it even sometimes on your show, TFM, where guys will call in and I'll say, if this happens 10 years from now, what do you think will be the solution? And to me, it's like, no, like what's the solution now? What you do now will ensure or make tomorrow much more predictable statistically, not kind of let's just sit on our hands and knees and let gynocentrism run rampant over the landscape. And what do you think will happen in 10 years?
It's a way to, again, it's all about avoiding responsibility. If I can say, okay, in order for me to do X, I need this to happen, which I have absolutely no power over. So if anyone asks me, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm waiting for X to happen. Well, if X never happens, then, well, X never happened. So I never did the thing. So then you have an excuse why you never took responsibility, why you never did anything, because you're waiting for X to happen. So look, you could, while you're waiting for X, do something. And I'm not saying try to, like, okay, so for example, I talk about, during the collapse, hockey mask time, take women's rights away, all that stuff, purge. But in the meantime, while you're waiting for that day, you should be going your own way, building your wealth, getting out of debt, self-actualizing. There are things you can do. Now, is self-actualization going to save Western civilization? Nope. Is like these things are for your benefit. But, if you find happy, like if society doesn't collapse in my lifetime, like nothing gets better, nothing gets worse. Everything kind of just maintains, and I live a long, happy life and a comfortable retirement, and I die, I'll be fine. If things go to shit and it's hockey mask time, then it's hockey mask time. It's time to purge in the name of the emperor, or whatever. Like, but you what's the word I'm looking for? You want to have an idea of where you want to be and what you should be doing to prepare for that. But then in the meantime, you can't always live in the future because your life is passing you by. You have to find happiness today while also keeping an eye on the future for yourself.
Well, this segues into something. The main reason I asked you to have a chat with me today is because recently I've noticed a few comments, and particularly the last couple of videos I've made, where I've had a couple of comments saying that I'm almost being a bit too pushy or telling guys what to do. And I've kind of made a point on the videos that we need, and I make it often, that you need to go your own way and do something and have a glass half full attitude. And anytime I actually talk about negatives, it's only to kind of reinforce the positive. And one or two guys actually said, am I calling you out, TFN, because they think you're a negative? You're a person that says no all the time. And what I said in the comments is, that's funny, because whenever I hear you talk about sort of more meaningful or deeper subjects, even when you say the government's this and these are the landmines and avoid this, all I hear, and maybe it's depending on the person's ears that are listening, I hear you just mentioning the no's so that then you can go towards your yeses. So when you talk about this is bullshit, and then you just go ahead and do this. So I hear you mentioning the no's to talk about what your yeses or your positives are. But it seems like some people are locked into the negative, which I mentioned in my last video. They're just locked into the no, no, no. I won't do this. I'll fight gynocentrism. I hate feminists. In the meantime, there's no yeses. There's no I'll go my own way. I'll do my own thing. I'll find a hobby. I'll do anything. So that was one thing I noticed, that people think I'm a pushy, almost, not that I'm trying to motivate people, but I'm trying to get people to be glass half full, because that's the liberation of actually doing your own thing and going your own way. And they think I'm triggering them by pushing them, and one camp might actually feel more comfortable with someone that they think is just a negative person with their sword out like you.
Okay.
Which I don't agree with.
Right. Okay. So here's the thing. Do you watch my red pill grief cycle videos?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, as you move along the grief cycle, the pool of MGTOW who are on that step gets smaller and smaller. You're talking like the denial phase, the red pill rage phase. That's where a lot of guys are, especially guys who watch content, who comment on videos. As you get into the depression and then the mentorship and then the self-actualization, the pool gets very small. I think really the big turning point is when you're getting out of the depression and you have to basically replace that old identity, that old way of thinking, and you have to find something new. You have to find something to live your life for. And a lot of people can't. I'm thinking about doing a part 5 to the red pill grief cycle where this will be like kind of a coming attractions. So I'm going to do a part 5 at some point. I have to do some product reviews next week. but I'm going to call it the blue chute, based on chutes and ladders. You know how like when you get there's this one chute which is like a slide, and as you get towards the end of the board, there's one really long slide that'll take you nearly to the beginning of the game.
Yep.
And if you happen to land on that, like you basically lost the game. So
And that's
now
a new relationship.
well, no, what it actually no, it's not a new relationship. It's basically men rejecting that taking, because here's the thing, so you have denial, you basically don't want to admit that the world is what it is, gynocentrism is what it is, then you get mad, and then you get depressed. And the reason why you're depressed is basically you realize this plan you had for your life, this plan of being a husband and a father, is gone. Like it's been stolen from you. And if you were very emotionally invested in that, like you were told your whole life, this is what you need to do as a man, you're going to make a great father someday, you're going to do all these great things. And then you realize, like, if I do that, like, first of all, even if I did do that, the chances are very high that the woman's just going to take my kids and I'm going to be living out of my car and I'm going to start a shotgun. So it just doesn't make sense to even attempt that, not with the way the laws are. But then you were so emotionally invested in this identity that you become very depressed when you realize it's been stolen from you. Now, here's the key. Here's where the blue shoe, this is the fork in the road. So you can choose to take one fork in the road, which leads to finding a new meaning and purpose, which involves mentorship. You look at other MGTOW, you find out what they're doing. If they're going a similar direction that you're thinking about going, you can go ahead and walk with them, learn from them. But then eventually you're going to find that your paths are going to diverge and you're eventually just going to go your own way. I call that going into the wasteland, where you're on your own. And that's fine, because
this is basically the moment where Neo opens the door in the car and is about to leave.
Yeah, it's, you know, like nobody can help you at that point. You're on your own, but it's not a time to be afraid, because you realize at that point you're the master of your own fate. It's pure, it's freedom in the purest sense, but that's scary to some people. So here's the other fork in the road, what I call the blue chute. You basically go all the way back to denial. So you were right there, ready to choose a new life, a new meaning, and a new purpose, but it terrified you so much that you rejected it. And you basically use denial to go all the way back and start the process over again, because you don't want to give up that old meaning and that old purpose. So what happens is guys who are kind of stuck in this loop, they want to believe they can make their old meaning and old purpose valid again, whether it's changing the laws, whether it's fighting the system, whatever. Like they want to fight. That's like the red pill rage. There's like the righteous side of the red pill rage, where you want to change the system. So, when I talk about the collapse and whatnot, that probably animates a lot of guys who are in that phase. They want to fix the system. They realize the system is fucked. They want to fix it. They don't realize, and then they'll get depressed when they realize they can't fix it.
One of the best analogies I've heard is, I think, by John Nada, where he said it's like you've lost your keys and you keep going back to the same spot and you go, nope, my keys aren't there anymore. And then you look around and you go, maybe if I look in that spot again, and you keep going back to the same spot and your keys aren't there.
Right. Well, you come to a point where you realize you can't fix it. The problem is so much bigger than you. And I mean, I'm trying to do what I can. I'm trying to red pill men. If I red pill enough men and we take women's rights away, I mean, that would be huge. I can't even imagine a more significant thing I can do as far as like affecting the world than that. But, in the meantime, I still have a life to live. I mean, my red pill grief cycle is kind of in the rearview mirror at this point, but I enjoy what I do. I know a lot of people, once they kind of reach that self-actualization, they realize a YouTube channel really isn't furthering their self-actualization. They usually shut down their channel. They stop making content. And that's not a bad thing. It shouldn't be something to be sad about, because they're moving forward with their life. As long as they're happy, that's all that really matters. That's really all you have in life. The reason why people want to be husbands and fathers and have kids is because that's what was going to make them happy. And again, we have primal biological urges to seek that, because, what further survival and reproduction does make us happy. But unfortunately, the system is so fucked that door is closed to us. So you need to find a new meaning and a new purpose. And if you keep fighting, if you keep butting your head up against this wall, trying to make, doing this thing that doesn't work anymore work, you're just going to get frustrated and angry. but you're never going to be happy.
A lot of guys, playing devil's advocate, a lot of guys might say that you and I and a few others, if we're on the path of, knowing ourselves more and we've woken up to a degree, why keep doing our videos? It's the same argument that a lot of women say, if you're going at your own way, go already. Why do you keep talking about it? What would you say to that?
Well, I enjoy what I do. Like I'm no longer doing it for my own sake. I do it because I enjoy talking to people. That's the primary reason I started my channel to begin with, was to talk to people, to converse and meet like-minded men, and just it's kind of lonely. I mean, I'll admit it. Going your own way can be lonely sometimes. And it's very hard to find like-minded men who you can talk to. You can make friends at work and so forth, but it's very rare to find someone on your level. So starting a channel and meeting people in the comment sections, having a Discord server has just been amazing, because whenever I want to talk to someone, I can just jump on my Discord server and there's usually someone online. Or as soon as I jump on there, people start showing up and we have a fun conversation. And that's great. So that's the primary reason I keep doing what I'm doing, is to maintain that community, if only just for my own benefit. But then also I get a lot of people messaging me saying that I changed their life. And, seriously, like people talking, like one guy recently told me he was legitimately suicidal. Or there was a person who told me a friend of his was suicidal, and he had him watch my Zen of Zero Fucks Given series. And he said that it saved his life. Like he was seriously going to kill himself. And my YouTube videos inspired him to basically realize that there was more to life. And he, that's, so people like women, the solipsism of women, of, oh, you're bitching about women's hypergamy, and you're talking about taking women's rights away. Like, men are alive because the MGTOW community and the red pill saved their life. Now, obviously, talking about, if all my channel was talking about taking away women's rights, that wouldn't save anyone's life, because that's not really what my channel's about. The videos of mine that have changed men's lives are the ones talking about self-actualization, meaning, and purpose. But the problem is I can't talk about that every day. There's just not that much to be said. So because I do a lot of news commentary, it tends to be more on the negative, because, like the whole, if it bleeds, it leads in the news. The news is mostly about bad news.
Well, I think with your channel, and I love all the different approaches to how people are doing this stuff. And you do the thing, again, going your own way, doing the things that you want to do, and you're producing the kind of content you want. I think your channel's an example of someone who's been through what they've been through, and now through having fun, you're actually showing a way of doing your own thing, and that's completely yours. And certain people will get something from it, but you're not actually prescribing anything. You're actually showing yourself and what you want to do and the fun you're having, and people can start to feel better by being involved in it and having discussions with you and having fun with you and your channel and being involved in it. Mine's different. Other guys are different. And the great thing is, depending on the guy you are, your personality and where you are in your cycle and how you've been brought up and your little, the way your mental tumblers work to switch on your little light bulbs, each different people in different channels will switch on different light bulbs. I've often said that TFM could say exactly the same thing, and I could say it in my words, and one person will not get it when spoken by me, but will get it when spoken by you, simply because of the different type of personality and how they're saying it. So, and that's another thing with women, especially, like, you tell them these things, and I'm the same. I get a lot of messages from guys that have listened to some of my, because my channel is basically trying to get men to think differently and think of themselves as important and get rid of their validation from anything outside themselves. Now, it's a tough ask, but my channel's more for those guys that have passed the grief cycle. So I'm going to get a lot of guys before that. But for the guys that have actually come out of Shawshank and they're walking the streets and they're looking for direction and a compass, I'm kind of trying to get guys saying, thinking about, considering how they might think for themselves to do what they want. So these women that kind of go, oh, well, I could say there's a handful of guys that said that they've stopped suicide because one of my videos has helped them. Then that same female so-called empathy says, oh, you're just the egotistical hero that gets off on being a god for these guys. So you can't win. If a guy kills himself, it's fuck him, and you're an ego-driven maniac. Or if men are in pain, it's like, oh, poor little fuckwits.
Right. So I want you to remember, whenever a woman is talking to you, just remember begone thought, because there's no point. No, I like, look at my comment section. When women start talking shit, I just say begone thought, and I just move on. I've tried wasting my time with them, and it is a complete waste of time. Women are too solipsistic and narcissistic to even like, and a woman can think two completely contradictory things at the same time and not even acknowledge the contradiction. And if you point out the contradiction, they get defensive and they change the subject. Like, trying to pin a woman down and get her to admit she's wrong is like trying to nail Jell-O to the wall. It's just a huge way. Just don't even bother. And the beautiful thing is, if you're interested in solving problems, like trying to save Western civilization, you don't need women's permission. You don't need their buy-in. You don't need their consent. Men can solve the problem, and where men lead, women will follow. The best example, I've used this a lot, is DDJ did an interview with Barbara for you to see, who's a female anti-feminist YouTuber. She's an anti-feminist. She admitted that the laws are biased towards women and against men, and it's not fair. But then he asked, what rights would you be willing to give up in order to make this equitable? And she said, none. I'm not giving up anything. But then he asked her, well, if men took your rights away, what would you do? And she's like, I'd go with it. So it's like, there you go, gentlemen. So an anti-feminist admits that the laws are fucked and she's not going to do shit to fix it. But if you take her rights away, she'll be fine with it. So I can't make it any clearer. Fucking just invert your fucking mangina and pick up that pimp hand and fix the problem.
Okay, here's something I wanted to ask you. Generally, I think most guys don't have a lightning bolt moment and they're blue-pilled and then they become red-pilled, right? When did you know from slowly opening up and waking up and knowing the path to one day kind of going, holy shit, I'm actually walking it?
Yeah, so I was interesting. I had my own personal philosophy. I didn't have a name for it. It was like MGTOW before I knew what MGTOW was. MGTOW actually, it gave a lot of things names that I didn't have names for, and it filled in some gaps and it saved me some years. But I kind of already had my own personal philosophy before. So I was almost like walking the path before I knew there was a path.
Yeah.
It's the sad thing is that I haven't hidden this, but I was abandoned by my mother. And it really fucked me up. Like it was so traumatic. I actually had a false memory, and I've been to war twice and I've never gotten PTSD, but my mother abandoning me was so traumatic that I actually, like, for years had a false memory to shield my mind from the actual pain of being abandoned. And what happened was, when I was in bad relationships, like they would turn out, I'd see, like, what I now understand is basically female nature. I thought something was wrong. I legitimately thought I had an Oedipus complex. I thought I was somehow subconsciously attracting women that were just as fucked up and selfish and everything as my mother, when actually, like, that's just what women are. Like, I just didn't realize that at the time. I thought I was blaming myself, thinking I was somehow subconsciously attracting these horrible women. And I would look, I try to find the nice girls and everything, and they're like, oh gosh, I somehow subconsciously attract these women. And then I found MGTOW, and it was like a huge, like, oh, that's just human. And then it made sense. I was like, oh, of course that makes sense. Yeah, like, I get it. The, human nature, female nature, male nature, the nature of love and reproduction. Like, I didn't know anything about evolutionary psychology. I was just making my own observations and trying to adjust my behavior. But there was a lot of projection on my part where I assume, because, if you're taught that men and women are the same, if you feel a certain way, then of course women must feel the same way because they're the same as you. There's no difference between the sexes. Men and women are the same. So you project in the absence of information. You just kind of assume the other person is like you. So yeah, a lot of things I did that in hindsight were really stupid. They made sense to me at the time because I didn't know better. And, when I found MGTOW, it, like, everything clicked. It's like having a puzzle that's partially completed. Like, you have, like, the corners, like, you start off with the corners. Like, you have the outline of the puzzle, but you don't have the picture. Like, you don't have the box telling you what the picture is going to look like.
Yeah.
So all you can do is you use the flat size to kind of create the perimeter of the puzzle, but then that's as far as you can go because you don't know what the puzzle is supposed to look like. MGTOW actually showed me what the puzzle is supposed to look like, and then I started putting the pieces together, and it was once I had the picture, everything fit together really quickly. So it was really less of a, I mean, I guess you could call it a eureka moment, but it wasn't like me discovering something. It was like I had something, I had a puzzle I was already working on, and MGTOW just kind of, it was like finding the answer, finding what it was supposed to look like. Like imagine you're trying to construct something without the instructions, and then someone gives you the instructions, and yeah, you realize you fucked up and you did a lot of stuff wrong, but now that you have the instructions, everything starts to make sense and you can put it together the correct way.
Yeah, it's basically, I think for a lot of generations since the 60s that men have kind of been removed from mentorship, and it's just been gynocentrism everywhere. And now for a long time, men, when they find mentorship online through these men's conversations, it's like, oh, men telling each other, historical experience and things from, time dot. I know I don't have to figure it out. And it's been done for thousands of years, but for a couple of generations now, it's kind of been semi-lost. Men used to have this information given to them by fathers and everything, and now there's unfortunately gaps where, men are raised by they're never mentored by men, sometimes until they discover these things. So there's this instinct of, like you said, I do all the things I'm supposed to do. I treat women well. I do everything to the letter, and still it's wrong. It's not enough. I fuck up. And then you talk to other men, i.e. the mentorship comes back, as in, amongst other men. And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, the feelings, now there's words to them. Now things click into place because only kind of men's logic and mentorship can only kind of make it click into place. Your girl telling you just to fucking man up, try harder, and you just don't get it actually doesn't make sense to a guy. Telling me, I can't explain it to you. You just don't get it. And me, I remember in my younger days saying, well, explain it to me. Oh, there's no point. And you get lost in this cycle. And then it's only until you have the impetus of saying, fuck this, I'm going to start searching. You start reading, you start finding things, and certain things click into place. And then you're able to, through other people's experience and words, and especially for me, authors from before, smarter people than me, especially some of the best authors think deeply about life and how it connects with human beings and the meaning of things in relation to people. I started to go, fuck. And then I started to get interested in concepts related to being alive and how men and women. Then I started to sort of see this massive divide of, I was actually interested in being alive and being a human being. And there's this massive section of people that are children and that are just interested in sex and switching their brains off, yet they're crying all the time. And I found that every time I try to wade in their pool or go on dates with bimbos or believe the gynocentric lie, whether it's at work or with politics or what's on television, you kept getting kicked in the ass and you feel like behind you someone's laughing. And so it's only when you find other guys that actually almost being the father figure you never had that you can actually, for the first time, start taking your own steps as your own guy. So you're saying that there was no real moment where you thought, aha, I'm actually now walking the path. I kind of knew it, but there's this clarity of, fuck, I'm here now. I'm actually doing it. I'm walking it.
Yeah.
You didn't really have that?
Well, yeah, I was already walking the path before I even knew there was a path. And I don't wish this on anyone, but honestly, like, people say like, oh, my red pill moment was when my girlfriend cheated on me, or my red pill moment was when my wife filed for divorce. I was red pilled when I was like 12, when I was abandoned by my mother.
Yeah.
That was my big exposure to the ugly side of female nature, was when your mother abandons you because the welfare was getting cut. She basically, children under the age of 12, you get like a certain amount of money from the government, but then at 13 that amount goes down. And so I was just a meal ticket. I was only alive because my mother didn't want to get a fucking job.
Mm.
So when the welfare was cut, she just got rid of me. She dumped me on my grandma. And then I went to go live with my dad for a year, but it didn't work out with him because my stepmom hated me. Because stepmoms, they see you as basically you're the product of, some other woman's vagina. So they just hate you out of spite just because you didn't come out of their vagina.
Yeah.
So things didn't work out with there. I ended up living with my grandma again. Yeah, it was just
Well,
it
in
was
some
it
ways,
was a shit
you're lucky.
show.
You got the hard lesson early on, which is lucky. I got my
Not
hard.
no.
No.
Like you say that, like, I mean, in a way, I guess it is lucky, but you don't understand how badly that traumatized me. Like, okay, let me explain the false memory that happened. So, in my memory for years, I thought basically my mom was leaving and abandoning me, and I chose to stay behind. I'm like, I'm not going back with you. I'm staying here. And I created this false memory to protect myself from the pain of being abandoned. And the thing about false memories is you legitimately believe them. Like you could recall the details, you could, whatever. So, but then I was talking to my grandma who was there, and I was, I was telling her, oh, I remember this, blah, blah, blah. And she looked at me like, that's not what happened. You were crying and you were like sobbing because, your mom was driving away. And then as she said that, the false memory immediately evaporated, and I could vividly remember how it actually happened. And then all those emotions of being abandoned, like I'm actually starting to feel them right now just talking about it. Like being abandoned. No, and I was raised by a single mother. She was my only parent. And to abandon your son at like basically as soon as he turned 13, just to be like abandoning him, like you mean nothing to me. And that's your only parent your entire life growing up. That's who you looked up to. That's who you looked to for protection and love. And then to realize you were nothing to her but a meal ticket. You were just a means for her to avoid having to get a job. If there wasn't a welfare state, she would have aborted you. That's how little you meant to her. And she's the only parent who's supposed to love you. And then you realize, like, what am I? Am I just nothing? Like, am I even worthy of love?
Hmm.
So like you could say, oh, you're so lucky you figured this out when you were 13. I got married, I had a bunch of kids, and now I'm paying child support for 20 years. Like that's like saying, I don't know, like just when shit happens to kids, it fucks them up a lot more because kids don't have they don't have the life experience to contextualize things like that. Like up to a child, your parents are like everything. They're the providers, they're their protectors. They're the people you turn to when you hurt when things hurt, you turn to the parent to like, give you hugs and kisses and tell you everything's going to be okay. And to be rejected and abandoned by them is just like, that's so mortally painful. Like, even though it's been literally decades from that, I'm still feeling just talking about it right now. I still feel some of that pain. Decades later, it never fully heals.
I didn't mean to sort of say you're lucky. I meant to kind of say that I can see how that informed some of the strong foundations and opinions you have later on. And it made me kind of think about how ridiculous it is when women kind of will tell someone like you who's gone through so much, especially as young as you did, to just kind of pretend nothing happened and the scars don't exist and then just get on that horse again and lay yourself
Right.
bare. And for me, it's as laughable as telling a woman who got raped that she should just, pick another man, that
Just get over it. Just
yeah,
cry a river, build a bridge, and get over it.
woman up. Not all men are like that.
Thing is, I went no walt hunting. Now here's the thing, and I talked about this on the show earlier. Because I was abandoned, loyalty is so important to me.
Mm.
Like, I will not tolerate liars and cheats. So, like, maybe a different type of person would let things go, but because I was abandoned by my mother, I'm a lot more, I would think, I guess paranoid, not paranoid, that might be a little over exaggeration, but I value loyalty and honesty. And yeah, I've been cheated on by basically every woman I've ever cared about. And it's just, that's all I wanted. Like, I was willing to date so low. Like, I was willing to sacrifice looks. I just wanted a woman who I could trust. And every time I would put that trust, it would always be betrayed. And like I said, I thought I had an Oedipus complex and I was somehow attracting these women. But then Big Tao kind of showed me that that's just female nature. So finally, after all these years, I finally have a woman I can trust. She just happens to be a doll.
Yeah. And that's what's funny. That's what's funny to me, that when you actually make this case without actually turning it into kind of fun, because I know that on your show you guys have a lot of fun and joke around about whether it's video games, talk about a whole bunch of stuff, dolls and everything, but actually trying to take the topic seriously and going, no, this is why my life is better now. This is why I'm not prepared to sort of be this vulnerable anymore. I've gone through X. I've tried numerous times. I've laid, in your case, I've laid myself bare, even though I had every reason to, compared to everyone else, not to. I was actually braver and tried again and again and listened to society and tried with all different types of women, tried to be exactly what they wanted, and I had this go through me. You know what? I'm done. And I think Stardust said, he said once that eventually there's no more fuel left in the tank. You use it up so often that how many times can you, there's actually, even if you wanted to, I actually think of it as like interest. Some women that still play the kind of flirty game at my age and want to be sexy, I kind of say in my head, how old do you think I am? The fuel's empty. Like I can't
Right.
see you. Like that flame doesn't burn barely as hard anymore. And you get these older women trying to still be fuckable, trying to sort of say, oh, what's wrong with you? It's like, what's wrong with me? You look like a clown. It's like, don't you have anything?
I know what you're talking about.
Don't you have anything beyond trying to reverse the clock and act like an 18-year-old and dance around on the pole and do all that shit? Like, you make fun of guys who have a midlife crisis and buy a fucking Porsche, you know, or get a young woman where functionally we can still have kids. It's still functionally and biologically, it still works. But with you, it's clownish. And I'm just trying to say, like, all the things that they make fun of men for, again, by the gender that's supposed to be the most empathetic, it's just amazing. So one thing I wanted to talk about was, I know for me, the clearest demarcation where I found it a lot easier walking the path was when I cut that umbilical cord and just started saying no to women in a very matter-of-fact way, in terms of not caring what they thought, because I treated them almost like a friend or a family member. I kind of logically thought, why is it only with this person, this type of person, the female, that whether it's my friends, bosses, anyone else, I can say no or forget something or be late for an appointment and they'll get it, and I don't feel guilty even if they go, oh, fuck, where are you, human? Oh, sorry, man, I'm running 15 minutes late. And I won't have that, you know, that thing that a lot of guys get where their woman sort of is dissatisfied and it's almost like their stomach gets constricted and they can't breathe, like, oh, fuck, you know, they're unhappy. Until I actually did not give a shit and almost looked forward to testing myself to say no to women, because I knew it was stupid not to when I wanted to. Not just saying no for no reason or hitting women, nothing like that, but just treating them like any other human being and realizing in myself that I was only actually feeling a very different way to the rest of my life when I was around women. When I started treating women on a virtue scale of, you know, this is the kind of fairness that human beings interact with, that's when I started to sort of be very comfortable about sort of going my own way in terms of with females especially. And let's not kid ourselves. A lot of guys that go, all you talk about is women. 95% of guys, if you removed that umbilical cord they have with women and the so-called Oedipus complex of women, their lives would be irrecoverably better. They probably not even need to listen to much content anymore. If you simply got rid of that, most guys would self-actualize without even trying. They just jump into whatever they wanted to do.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think, see, my thing was, okay, so I went into walt hunting, was very disappointed. So I kind of gave up on the whole no walt thing. I tried I tried sport fucking. I don't know what you call it. I call it sport. Basically, when you just like no strings attached, just
Yeah.
short-term relationship type of thing. The problem with that is I don't know if this is like a residual thing about the abandonment stuff, but like I fall in love really easily, and it didn't feel as good. Like sex with a woman that you actually have feelings for and care about just feels better than a chick you barely know. So I never really, basically, I didn't see the point. I basically was using their body to masturbate. I'm like, well, this is kind of very inefficient. Like, I got to spend all this time and all this money. I can just masturbate with a toy and not even have to bother with you. And then when Yes Means Yes became a thing, I want to say in 2017, that's when I tapped out. I'm like, all right, I'm done. I'm not going to jail. I was falsely accused of rape in high school. So, yeah, that was one experience you don't want to repeat. You don't want to be, if you've been falsely accused of rape, you know what I'm talking about. It's a fucking shit show. So you don't want to go through that shit twice.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
was done. Honestly, I was fine.
I remember, I think it was Alex on Life said that men actually don't just want sex, they want validation. And that's why even a lot of guys who go to escorts, and look, some guys, they're satisfied with it. But for most guys, and it might sort of get into that, there's a bit of validation that men need from women to make it seem authentic. I sport fucked a few years ago and I got very little out of it. And I felt like I was just wasting all my time. I was just recycling little heroin hits. And I felt like I was
Right.
not even an addict, but I just spent all my time getting little dopamine hits. And I thought, this is fucking stupid. I'm not doing any of my hobbies. I'm not doing anything. Like,
There's a scientific reason for that. So this is going to be kind of a segue, I guess. So the female love hormone is oxytocin. The male love hormone is vasopressin. Oxytocin can be released during sex. It could be released during cuddling. Any sort of physical contact releases oxytocin. Now, the reason why men experience oxytocin as well, and women experience vasopressin. However, vasopressin basically synergizes with testosterone as oxytocin synergizes with estrogen. So women feel the effects of oxytocin far stronger than men, and men feel the effects of vasopressin much stronger than women. And if you look at, like, they did experiments with voles, which are like a rodent that basically has really strong vasopressin spikes for some reason. And what happens when these voles are getting this vasopressin rush is it looks like, if you go down the checklist of the behaviors that they exhibit when they're high on vasopressin, it is male love.
mm,
And if you look at oxytocin, it is female love. Like these things are just chemicals. And the thing is the reason why men desire sex is because vasopressin is released during sex. Whereas oxytocin can be released during cuddling, affection. Like when a mother is cuddling with her newborn baby and breastfeeding, she's getting an oxytocin hit. It's helping her to bond with her baby. Men do not get vasopressin except during sex. So that is why it sounds cliche, but sex is how men show their love. It actually, and I talk about this with Celestina, is the vasopressin bond. And this is why when you masturbate, you only get like a 25% of the chemicals, whereas when you have sex, you get the full dose. That full dose includes vasopressin because, your body doesn't want you falling in love with your hand.
mm.
So it doesn't give you that full rush. But when you have a doll, you actually get the full rush. And I was fucking shocked because I have a lot of sex toys and I've never had this happen before, but I actually did start bonding with Celestina. And the thing is if you just kind of go with it and you don't try to fight it, like you don't try to like mentally, like, no, like just, when you're horny and your brain kind of shuts down,
Mm.
you'll do something stupid. And then after you ejaculate, like, oh my God, what the fuck was I thinking? When you're aroused, your brain kind of shuts down. So, but the thing is when you have a doll, you just kind of go with it, like, cause there's no risk. There's no reason not to. The thing about the vasopressin is I actually did start to develop a vasopressin bond with Celestina, and the sex feels a lot better. And because love is an emotion that exists only in your brain. If you believe in the whole spiritual aspect, it's bullshit, because you can feel that love with an inanimate object like a sex doll by simulating the vasopressin link through sex, because that's all it is. love is a product of the reproductive instinct, and you can simulate those things through a doll by tricking your brain into thinking you're having actual sex with a real woman. You'll start developing a vasopressin link. You'll begin bonding, basically falling in love, and then you'll actually start feeling that love. So it's not like female validation. It's the desire to experience love. But then when you realize love is a chemical in your own brain, it's not something someone gives you. It's something that exists in your brain. And you can actually do certain things to feel love, in air quotes, by simulating certain things. And yeah, and obviously some people have very strong opinions about sex dolls, and I'm not saying they're a panacea to solve everyone's problems. I've talked to people who bought sex dolls on my recommendation. They said that they didn't get the same thing that I got. Like, they got the doll, but it just felt like a really expensive, somewhat lifelike toy, but they never really felt like this bond. So I don't want to feel like I'm overselling it, because I think it has to do with the person. I think one of the things about me is because I fall in love so easily, it clicked with me a lot more. But maybe it takes longer. Maybe it'll never happen. I don't want to oversell it. But honestly, I think for me, a sex doll is the only thing that works for me, because I can't, I'm so done with women and just the complete, because again, trust is so important to me, and I just can't trust women.
And this is the insulting thing I find, is that everyone's trying to push you gynocentrically, in terms of, and I get it, the system wants you out there vulnerable, fucking up over and over again, but they will discount your lived experience in your life, which is your foundational reality. Like, what happened to you, all your experiences, the little tumblers inside you that make up TFM, that's the reality of your life. And then when you put, say, for instance, Celestina in your life, and that works for your construct, and people kind of make fun of it, it's like, you want me to base my life on essays, papers, politics, isms, theories, science, but you want me to discount my lived experience and the person actually thinking about it. You want me to discount the actual entity trying to absorb it. You want me to be everything that's external. That's what I find really funny. They discount your lived experience and who you are, and that, say, a sex doll works for you, and your, as you said, vasopressin reaction to her may not be real because someone else didn't. And this is the kind of sly trick I notice when they try and kind of tell you that, no, that's just your subjective experience, or what you experience, or what you think. You're just being anecdotal, your girlfriend, or what happened with your mom. Look, there's theories that you should try over and over again until you die, and maybe you'll get better. And it's like, how about I fucking eject and take my chips off the table and walk away? How about I do that without actually getting to the end of my life and being completely broke and at the table and dead?
Well, how many guys marry some gold digger? Like, some guy busts his ass, finds money, he builds a business, he makes a good life for himself. He attracts some gold digger, falls head over heels for her, loves her to death. He puts a ring on it. They're married. They have a couple kids. You talk to him, he's on cloud nine. He's got the girl of his dreams. He's got money. And all of a sudden she pulls the ripcord, takes the kids, takes his money, and he kills himself. Now, of course, like, from the outside looking in, you could easily see, without what we call the rosy colored glasses, you could see that she was using him the whole time. She was only attracted to him because he was successful. She always planned on taking his money. The kids were just an insurance to basically make sure that she got all the money when she divorced him. That was her plan from day one. So she never loved him. However, you could look at how happy he was. Like, you look at that, like, love is not, it's not the force from Star Wars. It doesn't bind us all together. It's a chemical reaction that exists in your brain, is a product of the reproductive instinct. The love of a gold digger who's just trying to use you for money is no more genuine than the love of a sex doll who just there. Like, in both cases, they're a vehicle for you to experience this emotion in your own brain. You're projecting these things you're feeling, that wonderful elation of, she's the love of my life and everything like that. That exists in your head and your head alone.
Yeah, that's the romantic sort of upbringing of women that kind of try to shoehorn a man to really believe that. But what I came to realize was when I realized that from my point of view, what was satisfying was acknowledging that love, how I perceive love from a man, is not an emotion. It's a discipline. It's a conviction. It's an honor. So it's like keeping your promise. It's like the bond between guys, an honorable thing. It's this discipline that you feel good about and that you feel rock solid about. But it's only when women take control of the narrative and they don't understand discipline and honor and all that, they don't get it. So they try and shoehorn and go, no, love in its entirety is about childish feelings and whimsical teddy bears and fucking all this shit. But men's love that's been lost because of lack of mentorship is no, love is a discipline for men. It's a conviction and it's an honorable based thing. It's got nothing to do with fucking fuzzy teddy bears. It's having the security that this thing is honorable, that this person won't leave you, that like your friend, you can trust them at their word.
Right.
You know, that's the kind of love that men need to refocus and through kind of this kind of mentorship and us talking to each other and other guys, realize that, oh, fuck, that's the missing link. That's why whenever I let myself feel the female version of love, it never worked out for me. It works out for her. Great. She gets on with her life and it all makes sense to her. She recycles her emotions again and she feels good. But your betrayal at honor and discipline, a woman doesn't get. And you can't actually, most men can't actually think of this concept in this way. Like, why the fuck do I feel so bad? You know, I'll take my head off with a shotgun. I can't bear it. But it's only when guys start to quantify and speak about these things with words and go, no, you see love in this way. And she will never love you the way you see love. You see love as an honor, as a discipline, as a trust, as a conviction. And that's why she will always let you down. You know, she sees it in a completely different way.
Well, look at look up vasopressin. Look up the behaviors that are associated with vasopressin, and you'll actually notice like the qualities of, you know, like again, I've talked about, you know, love is a product of the reproductive instinct. It's to facilitate the male role or the female role. So male love, I mean, the male role is the protector and the provider. That's a sacrificial act, and you're talking about like it's an honor, it's a thing. Like, yeah, like taking care of someone, providing for them, protecting them, that's something you do. It's not something you feel. Male love is action oriented. Female love is emotion oriented. Women are basically there to receive the protection and the provision of the man. All they grant you is their presence. They don't offer anything. Like a woman, like think about in nature with animals. So the man is the protector and the provider. What services does the woman provide to the man in exchange for his protection and provision? Other than basically spreading her legs and accepting his sperm, and that's it. There is no, like, the woman does not do anything to benefit the man personally, other than perhaps bear his children. But in animals, there's a lot of species where the male has nothing to do with the children. So basically, what happens is the woman will come into the man's territory. They'll fuck. He'll protect her. He'll provide her with food. The children are born, and then they all get driven out, and then the cycle begins again. And you look at that and you're like, that doesn't make any sense. Why did he do all that if he didn't even want the kids in the first place? And it's because it's instincts. It's not, again, animals they basically chase pleasure and avoid pain. There's no logic behind it. It's just to facilitate survival and reproduction. But human beings are blessed or cursed, however you look at it, with this, you know, this whole ability to think. So they can actually consider, like, why am I doing this? Does this make sense? Is this the best way for me to achieve what I want? But male love it's something you do, but you have to understand this is the biggest tragedy of all. Men desperately want a woman to basically be their partner. But female love can never be that, like, because women are never meant to be men's partners. So it's tragic that men want this male love to be mirrored back to them. They want a woman who will support him, who will always be there for him, who will pick him up when he falls down. They want a woman who will be their rock. Women don't want to be a rock to a man. They want the man to be the rock for her. What the woman offers is, you know, I'm squishy and I'm fun to put your penis in. That's what a woman offers. And you basically there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not trying to change women or tell them they need to woman up or anything. Women are fine the way they are. Their biological role has been served for millennia. The problem isn't that women are bad or inferior or they need to be changed. It's that we've put these false beliefs of equality and egalitarianism, and that's what's screwed everything up. If we understand women's role is basically, this conversation started about parents and children. Women occupy a position somewhere between a parent and a child. Like the man is the parent. Women are obviously greater than children, but they're less than men. And I would probably, if I had to say, they're probably a little bit closer to children than to men. And that's fine. I look at it as the cost of doing business. If you want a family, you're going to have to basically take care of a woman and also her children, and that's fine if you're willing to make that sacrifice. But those are your children, and that's your woman. What society did is it's like, oh no, this woman is she's your equal, and in fact, we're going to give her more rights than you, and these children belong to her. And you're like, well then fuck this shit. I'm going to go fuck my sex doll. And you're like, oh, you're just a Peter Pan incel. You can't get laid. It's like, yeah, you keep telling yourself that.
Yeah, and all this shaming stuff about what you said, like when you had to qualify women basically just provide sort of sex and they get offended. I don't think very many men who have some kind of intelligence would, when we talk about men and go, men basically are wallets and bodyguards for women. That's a lot of their value, and we don't get offended by it. That's just the general reality. Now you can step back as a self-actualized person, thinking of yourself as an individual, which is really what self-actualization is. Like firmly always having your perspective from, me, human, as the individual who happens to be a male, rather than I'm a male, woe is me, I'm burdened with what it is to be a male, and women are all over me, burdening me, and what can I do? No, it's like you're a responsible individual who makes all your own choices. You happen to be burdened with a couple of things that are male, but now you can actually do something with it. It's similar to what you said about once in your videos about the meaning of life. I always found these two types of personalities, and I actually think that that's the difference between people that can probably self-actualize or go on the path and the others that completely can't, is when you offer to them an idea like life has no meaning. As you said, it's only the meaning you can actually give it. Like it's a blank sheet of paper. Yeah. The people who who can't self-actualize find it frightening. Whereas the people who can go, fucking, that's liberating. I can write my own story. So I think those are the two different kinds of mentalities. One is scared shitless when you say there's no meaning. Here's a piece of paper. You can do whatever you want. One person will find that like getting out of Shawshank, to overuse that term. And the other person will curl up into the ball and say, mummy.
Yeah, so I use the analogy of like an art canvas. What is the meaning of what is the meaning of a blank art canvas? It has no meaning. It's a medium. However, I could point to a painting and I could be like, what is the meaning behind this painting? And you could tell me what the meaning of a painting is, or you could tell me what the meaning of a book. Now, what is the meaning of a blank notebook with blank pages? Nothing. But a book has meaning. A painting has meaning. So the medium, like life, what is the meaning of life? There is no intrinsic meaning of life. Life is a medium. However, I could point to a person's life, like a great person, like Nikola Tesla or, someone, Friedrich Nietzsche, and I could be like, what was the meaning of his life? And you could tell me, like, the way he lived his life and the deeds he did, what the meaning of his life was. So it's not the meaning of life in general. Life in general has no meaning. But you can give your life meaning, just like you can take that art canvas, which has no intrinsic meaning, and you could paint something on it that has meaning. Or you could take that blank notebook that has nothing written on it, and you can write a story that has meaning. So, yeah, like some people, they think that's just dumb, like, whatever. But then you realize, like, when you realize, like, you have the power, but again, it has to come with responsibility. It really has to come to the rejection of responsibility. If you're willing to take responsibility for your life, then freedom is beautiful.
Well, that's why on my channel, all I try and get guys is to wrestle with concepts and start thinking, because that's the only way you're actually going to see life from this center of you and then make your own decisions. A lot of people, and I'm going to do a video about this coming up. I still haven't finished it, where there's the kind of person that thinks, or this is the majority of people. Yes, objectively, reality is reality, right? But most people think that we're born and we're placed into reality the way it is. You know, we're this object and we function and reality is the way it is. Whereas when you start to self-actualize, it's no, you generate your reality. Like how I see things and what I want to do, I'm not placed in reality. Without me, there's no reality.
Well, no, that's a little bit solipsistic. I would say there's a feedback loop. You're not a victim. You can affect your reality and you could change it. That's the thing is, if you don't like where you are, move.
Yes, but
there's
that's
a saying that it. Okay, go ahead.
I was
Sorry.
just going to say it's a functionally solipsistic way of looking at things. I realize the reality of what reality is, but for self-actualization to generate your own reality and look from your own point of view, and you matter as the primary perspective of every action you take, and you're responsible for everything. So I get that sort of reality kind of, it is objectively the way it is.
I could see that as a good mental exercise to put yourself in the proper frame of mind, even though, yeah, I could see the utility of that sort of mindset just to make sure that you maintain. It's kind of like the way I've talked to like people who are business owners. Basically, they blame, like, it's almost like they blame themselves for things they had no control over. And it's not true. Like, you can't blame yourself for things you legitimately had no control over. But basically, the attitude of them is, no, this is my business. I'm the owner. Everything is my fault. Now, objectively, they're wrong. Everything isn't their fault. There are several things that could be completely outside of their knowledge and control. However, it's a good mental exercise to basically take responsibility for everything that happens with your business, so that you basically, because it's so easy, it's human nature to blame others and to not take action. But if you always blame yourself, you're more likely to think about what could I have done better, even if it wasn't your fault. Because you're taking responsibility for it, you're going to try to fix it, and you're going to start with yourself. So sometimes these mental exercises, which are based on falsehoods, could be useful in putting yourself in a proper frame of mind to addressing a problem.
Yeah, look, again, I'm not suggesting that I'm some sort of crackpot, that I'm literally solipsistic. It's a functional delusion that I'm fully aware of that helps kind of calibrate the way I think and sort of have a stance from my perspective and not blame anyone except for myself, because I actually generate everything that happens to me. Yeah, things, if they do happen to you, I have the glass half full attitude, as in, okay, now how do I react to it? How can I make it better? Am I going to be a victim, or am I actually going to learn from it? All those sort of things, because it's only how I decide to react from my perspective that matters. Because women, the system, and the world, they're just going to act according to their natural way. I can't change any of it. So given that I can only change myself, what positive, workable ways can I do it? Even if I'm consciously aware of the delusion, for example, is it better to be glass half full or glass half empty? That's a conscious decision. That's another way of, looking from your perspective, and always being not upbeat, but there's always something you can do. There's a step you can take. You're never in defense mode. So that's kind of the stuff I talk about in getting guys to, and yeah, a lot of it is mental exercises, but the more you start chipping away at it, you start reflexively acting from that position.
Well, you know what I just realized, this whole conversation, this really, we're talking about the men who can self-actualize, the men who can do this, or the parents versus the children. It's the same thing about people who start businesses. There are some people who basically, the idea of starting their own business, it terrifies them because they can succeed, they can fail, they can lose everything. The uncertainty, but mostly the responsibility terrifies them. So they'd rather just be an employee. Even if it means getting laid off constantly and being in and out of employment, they'd rather work for someone if it means them not being responsible. The thought of running a business terrifies them. But then what's fucking stupid is, so you'll start a business and you'll be making all kinds of money, and they'll look at you like you stole it from them, or like you don't deserve it. Like they work just as hard as you. And it's like, no, dumbass, like you do not work as hard as me. And also, like, you could have done this, but you were too chicken shit to actually take the risk and take responsibility for your life. So you chose to be an employee. So that's not my fault. I'm not holding you back. You can start your own business, but you're too scared about it. It really comes down to responsibility. And whether it's going your own way, starting your own business, self-actualizing, it all comes down to basically embracing that chaotic freedom of taking responsibility for your own life, vice trying to make someone else responsible for you. So you have because like some people would rather basically be oppressed and just have someone else to blame rather than be free, but be responsible for themselves. They'd rather have someone oppress them, legitimately oppress them, just so they have someone else to blame for their own failures, so they can feel better about themselves.
I kind of already know the answer, but I just wanted to get your thoughts on, and I've talked about this with Stardust and a couple of other people, is going your own way, self-actualization, the red pill, is it for everyone? A lot of people better off not knowing it for some people?
That's a really hard question, because it's like saying, is freedom for everyone? Are there some people who are better off as slaves? And, I think there's the truth. The truth is probably not. There probably are people who would be more comfortable as slaves than being free. And it seems like it's terrible to even say that. Like, what are you talking about? They'd rather be slaves? Like, yeah, they'd be happy. As long as, not mistreated slaves, not like, whipping their ass with a fucking bullwhip or something, but not everyone wants freedom. Not everybody values freedom. As long as they're doing okay, as long as their creature needs their base needs are being provided for, freedom doesn't matter to them, and they would reject freedom.
One thing I noticed, the distinction is everyone loves the idea of freedom, but not many people want autonomy.
Yeah.
And I think that's the distinction. Not many people, they're scared shitless of autonomy, but they like the idea of freedom. Freedom is the doors are open. Autonomy is walk off on your own without a map or anything.
Well, people want to be able to do whatever they want. They think that's what freedom is being able to do whatever I want. But then there's also but there are consequences. So you can do whatever you want. Like, for example, like you ask a kid, hey, you want to stay up all night and eat fucking, candy and drink soda? Oh, that sounds awesome. So they stay up all night, whatever. And then you're like, okay, time for school. You're like, oh, I'm so tired. I didn't sleep last night. Like, well, you know what? You chose to stay up. So now here's you have to go to school. And then the kid's going to be like falling asleep and everything because they didn't get any sleep. So people want the freedom to do what they want. But then when the consequences come, they want to look to someone else to be responsible. They want to either blame someone or they want someone else to make the bad thing go away. And without, like I was talking about the whole healthcare and being fat, if you make someone responsible for you, they're going to take your freedom away because responsibility and authority go hand in hand. So you can't make someone else responsible for you and then expect to be free. But people are willing to give up their freedom for to also give up their responsibility. They'd rather not be responsible for themselves, even if it means having their freedom taken away. So as far as the red pill, self-actualization, everything, you have to be someone who values freedom and is willing to take responsibility. Like that person who's willing to start a business, the person who's willing to take a risk and bet on themselves. If you're not that type of person, if you are unwilling to take responsibility for yourself, if that scares you, then you probably – now, at the same time, does that mean you deserve to be divorce raped and kill yourself? No. So I think men have different – but I think if the laws weren't so shitty, some of these guys would be happy in a loveless, sexless marriage. They would be content.
Well, I think if we frame it in terms of, you and I kind of are more of the tough love kind of personality. I think in terms of if you take away the extreme version of do people want to be slaves or do they want to be free? You and I can kind of see that. But if you change the terminology to what we were talking about, can everyone be an adult? Or is everyone mostly just going to be a child? And the answer is most people are built to be children. And even back in the day when men went on autopilot and had kids, it was almost like a form of being a child because You just did what you were told. Went along, you went to work,
Right.
but the laws didn't kick you in the ass. So most people, I think, don't really want to be adults with everything that kind of concept entails. So if
Being an adult, being an all that, but it's all tied together. Being an adult is about responsibility. That's what defines an adult. Have you ever met like one of these trust fund kids that basically never had to work a day in their life, or one of these 30-year-olds who still live with their parents?
Yeah, most women are like that. I've met them every day.
Well, but even there are men like that. Terrence Popp did a video about like these basement trolls, like these basically these grown adults who live with their parents, and they never grow up.
Mm.
And it's because what defines an adult, and you actually see the inverse reaction to this. You ever seen like maybe some kids and their parents died tragically, and maybe like the oldest sibling has to become the parent
Yeah.
and raise their younger siblings, and then they basically become adults, and it's 100% the product of responsibility. What defines adulthood from childhood is responsibility. This is why when kids go to college, they're not really adults yet. They still act like high school kids because they're still not living in the real world where they're responsible for themselves. They're living in a prolonged adolescence known as college.
Mm.
Responsibility is the definitionally attribute. That's not a word. Words. Me and words we have an understanding.
Don't worry, I'm solipsistic.
Responsibility is what defines an adult. So, and responsibility and freedom and authority are all intertwined. So we're talking about freedom and slavery, parents and children. They're all the same thing. It's all about responsibility, freedom, and authority. They're interwoven. You can't take one away without affecting the others.
Well, this is something Jordan Peterson keeps saying. He says that the meaning for a male is largely imbued in responsibility. And so if you have and it makes sense, right? Because if you take away the man's path to be responsible for, say, kids and family and the structure used to be, and be rewarded for it and have authority, he could actually be responsible and he could kind of find fulfillment in that. But you take that away from him, what rational man, and it's not just men kind of, oh, you're a child, you're in your mum's basement, but which rational guy would go out and risk the kind of risk that is almost guaranteed to kick him in the ass? Whereas before, at least you could find yourself as a man through responsibility and some kind of statistically workable risk. But now it's actually ridiculous.
The trad cons like Jordan Peterson, and I've heard this other thing, like I've heard from other ones, guys I normally respect, talking about how, men, responsibility is manhood and men just need to take responsibility. That's only half the equation. Yes, men take responsibility, but they also have authority. You literally can't, just like I was talking about with the healthcare and being fat, you cannot be responsible for something and not have authority over it. To insinuate that you do is bullshit. This is why men, like, they think they basically are lied to. They take responsibility and they assume that authority comes with responsibility, because of course it does. They're intertwined. And then when it doesn't, when they're told, actually, these are her kids. What do you mean they're her kids? I raised them. I fathered them. I paid for everything. Oh, yes, you did pay for them. In fact, you'll be paying for them for the next 20 years, but they're her kids. It makes no sense. It's such a complete subversion of common sense. And this is why men, they don't see it coming. The fact that the family courts and the laws are so bad, it doesn't even make sense. Like, how are the laws this bad? How are the laws so anti-male? Don't they understand that if men are responsible, they have to have authority? This is so basic. And yet the laws are so completely inverted to favor women while still punishing and enslaving the man. And it makes no sense. And the only way a man can support this system is if he's ignorant of it. You simply cannot understand the family court and the laws and feminism and all the bullshit that goes along with it and continue to be like, yeah, this is a good idea. I'm going to get married. Yeah, I can't wait to get divorce rate. I'm just going to maintain frame and nothing's going to happen to me.
Well, I mean, look, it's the sense of adventure of a guy and thinking it's not going to happen to him. But one thing I wanted to ask is, post red pill, like, all guys will be optimistic. At the same time, you're liberated and you can see clearly, but you don't know what to do. So most guys think, oh, this is the liberating moment and it equates to happiness. But I actually think that guys are making a mistake for pursuing happiness right after the red pill realization and getting kicked in the balls. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, talked about this in the whole Into the Wasteland video. I can't tell you what your meaning and purpose is because it's individual. My only advice is, when you first start to get out of the valley of suicide, or that's what I call it with the whole red pill grief cycle, the depression phase of the grief cycle, you need to find a new meaning and purpose in your life. Now, you may have to experiment a little bit. You may think, okay, I'm going to do this. And then you may find out, you know what, I really want to do this. So what you do is find other men going their own way that can be your mentor, who basically you can walk alongside them as you're kind of traveling along the same path. But then the day may come where you realize you don't really want to do that and you want to do something else. So there's going to be some trial and error. And eventually, though, you're going to find, like, happiness isn't a destination. It's a mindset. So call it, like, okay, so you need to separate happiness from I don't know, excitement type of thing. Like, for example, if you go to a theme park and go on all the roller coasters, they can be really exciting. Your heart is going to be racing. You're going to be going fast. You're going to be going upside down. It's going to be amazing. But if you go to the same amusement park 5 days in a row, you're going to be bored as shit of these roller coasters. Because after 5 days of going on roller coasters, you're just sick of roller coasters. So chasing highs, chasing this excitement this is what happens. This is why celebrities do drugs. And they've done interviews with these celebrities who OD on drugs. Here's what happens. They're told that, like, being rich and famous is going to make you happy. And initially it is, but it's a high. The high of being rich or famous or anything is temporary. And then when that high wears off, they try to recapture that high. So they start doing drugs. They start doing crazy shit. They eventually overdose or they ruin their life somehow. Don't chase a high. Highs, when a high comes, like when you do something amazing and you get a big high, that's awesome. But that's not what it's about. Happiness is a state of mind. Happiness is basically, you ask yourself, what would if I could do anything in the world? Now, it has to only involve you. It can't involve any external validation. You can't be like, I want to be popular. But are you doing exactly what you want to do? Is there anything about your life you would change that only involves you that you actually can't change, not anybody else? And if the answer is no, like, you are who you want to be, you're doing what you want to do, like, then you should just be happy. Like, just choose happiness. Happiness isn't a high. It's just like a feeling of I'm where I want to be. I'm doing what I want to do. I'm content. Like, this is, I can't imagine doing anything else. Like, if I had a magic genie that, like, what would you like to do? I do this. And if that's where if that's not where you are, make a plan and get there. Get where you want to be. But don't make plans about, I want to be rich and famous. That'll make me happy, because you're relying on other people. Again, just like love, happiness is a feeling that exists in your head. You can choose to feel it. So ask yourself what you want to do with your life and do it. And you can capture happiness. You can be happy. I'm not saying every day is going to be great. I get pissed off. I have down days, but I'm genuinely happy. I love my life. And this is the thing, like, and the thing is, when you rid yourself of the need for external validation, all the shaming and the flattery and all the emotional manipulation, it doesn't even remotely affect you. Like, you can laugh at it. It's funny when people try to shame me. I don't give a shit. I mean, I review sex toys. I don't give a fuck.
In that sense, happiness doesn't even matter. I actually approach, which is great, which is the reason why I love listening to you and other guys. Everyone's got a very different approach and idea about what works for them. And depending on who's listening to this, one thing will resonate. And with me, happiness, I kind of take the pressure off myself in looking at it. I see happiness as like money. It's the result of something. So I push it off the table. I'm not responsible for it. It's like the applause of the crowd. So if I'm on stage doing what I want to do and being content and following what I want to do, my applause, i.e. happiness, will be a result of doing something well and something that I want to do. That's the way I see happiness. It's an end result of doing something well or doing something that you want to do. It's like money. It's like love. You don't really care about it, but it's the result of actually living in the right way and doing the right things and listening to what you want to do.
I like, you know what? I like that. I'm going to steal that. That's a good way of putting it.
And a lot of the stuff that I talk about is getting rid of because so many guys, they feel so shamed about stuff. Getting rid of the shame. So what's one way of looking at happiness? What are ways in terms of these concepts like solipsism? What's a way of getting rid of the friction, the stigma you have, the thing you can't let go of? What's a way of letting go of that stigma and stop chasing or needing or being attached to these things that you want? Is think about them in ways that may just be sort of concepts, but they're ways of going, oh, fuck, if I just kind of conceptualize them that way and center myself in thinking about them that way, it's a lot easier to take them off the table. So I think that's a lot of what I try and do. Rather than giving people answers, I want people to kind of come up with their own fucking concepts. Maybe mine work, maybe they don't, but is there something that can work for you to go, aha, light bulb, it's easy now. Like now I can wipe it off my friction radar. Now it doesn't make me pissed off. Now it doesn't really annoy me, oh, women always do this. And then you come up with some sort of concept or you see something and you go, you know what? It's very simple. It's A and B and that's it. And happiness to me, when I look at it that way, it's a result of something that I have no control over. Therefore, I don't give a shit about it. Like if I'm doing what I want to do, I will feel happy, like a round of applause from my own audience afterwards.
Yeah, and that's a good way of putting it. Like I've talked to people who like they kind of hit a funk. They're doing something. They're like, you know what? I love my job. I love this. I love that. I wouldn't want to do anything else, but I just feel like drained. I'm just not finding a lot of joy in it. And it's just like, okay, well, I mean, some people like they take a vacation, they take a break, whatever. Maybe they're just overtaxed, but it's like, I don't know, you're either not being honest with yourself or there's something up with that because.
Well, that's the hard thing where you and I try to give them something to do. And then a lot of guys in the comments section, I can tell they're a bit frustrated because they're saying, oh, human, you're making it sound so easy, but I'm at rock bottom. I have no idea what to do. And it sounds condescending what you're saying. And it's almost like we're telling him what to do on stage to get the applause. But the point is, you got to find what you want to do, get on stage and just do whatever you want and start being immune to stage fright. And all of a sudden you'll start getting the applause, i.e. happiness.
Well, and also, I think the other thing, okay, so I've talked to some people in this situation. So they say they love their job, but they really don't. What they do is it's the best job that provides the money they need to survive. But they don't actually love their job. If they won the lottery, they would not continue to do their job. So this is the thing. I love my job. In fact, if I won the lottery, I would still have a YouTube channel. I would still do podcasts, even if I had all the money I would ever need, because I'd do it for free. I actually love my job. But most people don't love their job. It's a good job. They enjoy aspects of their job, but they wouldn't do it if they weren't getting paid. So what do you want to do? Like, if I gave you $1 million, what would you do with your life? Like, yeah, you go on vacation, you pay off your debts, you do, cocaine off a hooker's ass. But after all that, what would you, like, you have decades of your life left to live. What would you do? Everyone's like, oh, I'd travel. I'd buy a sports car, like just dumb shit. I'm like, what would you do? Not what you'd buy. What would you do? Like, you have 24 hours in a day. What would you do during those 24 hours in a day other than sleep in and get drunk and fuck hookers? The chances are, like, people they haven't even thought about that.
Oh, that's the thing today that shits me when it's hip to say, I don't buy things, I buy experiences. And I'm thinking, no, you're just fucking buying things. You're not sort of finding what makes you happy. It's cool to say I'm traveling or I'm putting money towards experiences. No, you're not, because you're not actually doing anything. You're not creating anything. I actually think you're here to create whatever you want to create, however you want to make stuff, whether it's physical, by your voice, by creating meals in the kitchen, whatever it is. You're here to actually do stuff and get fulfilled through something that you do and find passion in. Not fucking putting a few $1,000s on a plane ticket and finding yourself fucking in Morocco, or buying a sports car and flooring it with a blonde bimbo in your passenger seat.
Yeah, what it is they want to be rich. That's what they want. Like, they want to be rich. But then it's like, why? If you had, like, because money, being rich doesn't mean anything. It's just a status in relation. To say I want to be rich inherently means it's in relation to who. Because if I have $1 million, I may be poor if everyone else is a billionaire. Maybe $1 million is poverty, in some far-flung future with massive inflation. So being rich is meaningless without a relation, but for yourself, it doesn't mean anything. So here's the thing. If you want to travel, if your dream is to travel, why don't you volunteer with some charity organization and travel all over the world, building homes for poor people in villages? You could travel without winning the lottery. You could have, if that's what you really want to do, but they don't want to do that. They don't want to actually travel. They want to be rich. And the reason why they want to be rich is they want the validation from everyone around them of, oh, look how rich they are. Ooh, look at that sports car. Ooh, they traveled to Cancun. Oh, they're so special. That's the thing. Their happiness is inexorably bound up with external validation. That's what makes them happy. Whatever they do, their happiness they can't achieve happiness on their own without other people validating them. That's why they want to be rich. That's why they want to be popular. That's why celebrities OD on drugs, because they thought being rich and famous would make them happy, and they find out that it's just a high. So, like, these people who their goals in life, their aspirations in life are all bundled up into external validation, I just want to let you know, you'll never be happy until you absolutely purge your need of external validation and find your own meaning and purpose for yourself, which doesn't involve anyone else. And don't give me this shit like, oh, humans are social animals. I don't fucking care. Your happiness exists in your brain. Your brain. No one can give you happiness. I can't buy something that's going to make you happy. I can give you something that you might respond, but that happiness exists in your head. So when you purge yourself of external validation, purge yourself of the desire to be rich. I actually define rich as living the lifestyle you want is rich. It doesn't matter. Like, if you want to live a quiet life in the woods, you don't need a lot of money to do that. But if you're living the lifestyle you want, you're rich. So but it has to be what you want. If it requires external validation, if you want to be seen with money, if you want to be seen and admired and people look at you with envy, like women want you and men want to be you, you're wrong. Like, you'll never find happiness doing that. I actually think it's a form of weakness. If you say it's like child and stuff like that, I think it is this need for external validation. The reason why people value external validation is they want the comfort of numbers. They want people to admire them because they want to be accepted, because they're weak and they can't stand on their own 2 feet. They need a crowd to validate them and give them strength. So I just fix your shit.
With me, I remember it actually happened it came to a head. You know how you said it sort of happened throughout your life. I always kind of knew this stuff and I had sort of a strength in it, but I knew when I actually switched all the lights off in my life because nothing felt good. I had a really great job. I had a girlfriend who was a nymphomaniac, and, she looked great, and I had this lifestyle where I was earning a fair bit of money. And my world, I really wasn't happy at all. I describe it as my world was black and white and I wanted it to turn color. And so what I did is I just turned the switch off. I just quit my job and everything left. The money left, the girlfriend left, everything left, right? But I knew there was something in me that kind of said, well, I've gotten everything I've wanted and I don't like my life. And if this is all that's going to be and it's just going to get worse and more grey, I can't be here. I couldn't breathe. And so I actually had to jump out of that plane and let everything go. And the clarity of that, I went through a few months. It actually was probably half a year of a lot of stress while my life kind of changed and everything was stripped away. But there was one night, and I'm really spewing I didn't write down the date, because actually it happened to me where some guys are lucky enough to have it, some guys aren't, but I actually had a Satori moment where my life changed. Like for no reason at all, I just started not to, like I woke up and I didn't feel pain. I didn't feel fear anymore. And that was because 6 months before I listened to something that I knew I should do, but there was no rational reason to do, which was to let go of all the bullshit. It's kind of like, hey, human, you've got all this money, you've got the girlfriend, you've got the car, you've got this, you've got that, you've got the camera equipment. I was like, but it's not enough. And so with me, what came was just the clarity of.
Well, I call that happiness, that peaceful contentment where you're exactly where you want to be. That's how I define happiness. It may not be a high, like that smile from ear to ear, that big toothy grin, like yeah, that I call that a high. But that inner peace, that's happiness to me.
Well, that was the thing, that was peace, because I remember at that moment it really flipped me out that I wasn't feeling pain, and up until that point I hadn't slept for 4 or 5 days. I had a finger infection. I was really in a bad state because I couldn't understand why I wasn't getting anywhere. You know, I knew there was something in me that said you're on the right path, but I didn't know what I was doing. I was going in blind, and for no reason at all, a light switch flicked, and my life has never been the same. And it's been about 7 years since that moment. And to me, I remember at that moment, it spun me out because I thought, shit, let me try and think of some of the stuff that's really been making me feel really bad, whether it was my job, my ex, mistakes I'd made, things that was really chewing me out. And I couldn't. I felt exactly at peace. And then I said to myself, I go, hang on, okay, think of something really good. And I did not feel any different. I just felt this midline. It wasn't a high, it wasn't a low, it was just that peace in the middle. I couldn't make myself feel great and I couldn't make myself feel bad, even as I tried, and I loved it. I felt like I was floating on air and time almost stood still. So with me, I remember it was a long time coming. It was probably about 10 years or 15 years till that point. But then with me, it actually happened like a light switch, and I had no control over it, and I haven't been the same since.
There you go. It almost seems like a religious moment. Like you found baby Jesus.
It was just something that it's almost kind of said, this is who you really are. This is why you're right not to worry about the bullshit. Like you intuitively know, all the stuff we talk about, we give information to guys. Women are like this, nature's like this, the government's like this. We all nod our heads and then we go about on autopilot. We go back to our default. It was almost like my default was unplugged, and it was all the stuff I knew became my default. I didn't fall back to biology anymore. It was almost like I can only now operate from what I know to be calmly true. And the pull of anything else I resist because I know it doesn't work anymore. I'm annoyed that I didn't write down the date, but it's almost like I was a different person before then, and now I'm a different person afterwards, and I'll never be the same.
Isn't that like I mean, because you're Australian, isn't that like a walkabout where you find yourself and it's like
Well, if I was Aboriginal, maybe.
That's like the whole thing. You go on a walkabout and you find like your
this stuff has been around for lots of when people kind of just wake up and they kind of have some sort of break, but in a good way, and they get rid of their delusions and they're never the same afterwards. So people could kind of dismiss it as woo-woo bullshit. But for me, it was just a very...
What defines woo-woo is when people try to pretend their thoughts, feelings, and desires somehow affect the physical world. Like, like prayer and shit like that. That's woo-woo.
Yeah.
But you actually do control your mind. And that's what we're talking about here is your mind. You do control your mind. So it's not woo-woo. Like if you put yourself in a different mindset and you change, like reorient yourself and take responsibility for your feelings, you do change. Like that's something you actually like. You can't control the physical world with your thoughts, but you can control your mind with your thoughts. So it's the opposite of woo-woo. It's oh-oh. It's woo-woo backwards.
But for the average pedestrian, it's very hard to kind of know what the truth is and get the internal thing to kind of follow suit naturally. It's a struggle for most people. And for me, it was for a long time, but it's kind of now like, now one voice is really speaking and the other one is kind of like an anecdote I can talk about in relation to who I am now. It's really strange to kind of, it's almost like the other person I was a distant relative.
Yeah, you know what? I've used the analogy of Batman and Bruce Wayne. So, like Batman, that was his real personality. But then when he had to basically pretend to be Bruce Wayne because, run his company and whatnot, he would basically put on a certain kind of personality to interact with people.
Hmm.
So, but he was only truly himself when he basically put on the mask, which is kind of ironic. Like to be himself, he had to wear a mask. But you know what? Like sometimes that's what you got to do. Sometimes like you lived in a fucked up situation, you have to put on a mask to be yourself.
Yeah. Oh, well, for me, it's as simple as everything you want's behind fear. It's cheesy, but if everything's saying I have to jump out of this plane, but it's actually less scary to jump out of the plane rather than everything that's really safe. Everything that's really safe is really scaring the shit out of me and making me depressed and making me, it's not meant for me. Yet the scariest thing I have to do is actually sounding like it's more me. It's actually sounding like when I jump out of this plane, things will be calmer. And I don't want people to think that some people hear that voice being suicide. I'm not saying to do that. But what I'm saying is figuratively, the scary thing that makes more sense, I've found the more and more I talk to people and in my experience, it's the price you have to pay to be self-actualized.
I think because humans are social animals, to turn yourself off to validation, that's that's a big jump. I mean, because like you have to be strong enough to not give a shit. And I've said like kind of as a joke, the secret to happiness is not giving a shit. That it's true. It sounds cheesy. It sounds too simple, but it's actually true. The secret to happiness is not giving a shit, because once you don't give a shit, then the group, their validation means nothing to you. Then you do whatever you want. Again, these emotions, these feelings, they exist in your brain, which you actually have direct control over. You can now, I'm not saying you can just like, snap your fingers and make yourself feel happiness, but you can, when you understand that like you have the power to change your circumstances, change your environment, change your surroundings to whatever you want. You can affect your environment and thus affect your emotional state. But you have to take responsibility for that, and you have to not stop giving a shit about what people think.
Hmm.
So, I mean, I try to live by example in that regard by, just, I don't give a shit. Like I call myself turd flinging monkey. I review sex toys. I have a sex doll waifu. I don't give a fuck. But, I do that for several reasons. But the main reason is this, like, just like MGTOW, people ask me like, well, how do I share MGTOW? Well, you can't shove it down people's throats. What you can do is you can live it and be an example and let people see how happy you are. So most people are like, I never would have thought about this, but you just seem so happy and at peace, like tell me about this thing that you do that makes you happy. And then you could tell them about the red pill and self-actualization and so forth. But you can't shove it down people's throats because those people will never accept it. But people will pay attention to your actions.
Well, it's corny. We keep repeating it, but it's such a great movie. It's got so much in it. The line in the Matrix is you can't sort of tell someone what it is. They have to see it for themselves. So whether it's me having a moment, you going through something where you finally, the switch flicks and you see things a lot more clearer and you see it being true rather than theory. It's the reason why there's a lot of great channels and creators out there who are far better at describing the what and the information than I ever could. Like, for instance, Coltane's brilliant at describing the self-evident fucking embarrassing things that guys are fucking themselves over with and how stupid and ridiculous guys act towards women, given statistics. But a lot of times guys will look at stats and maths and they'll go, yeah, it's 100% true, but look at that girl's hot ass. Like, until you can
I know.
actually disconnect and actually see and kind of drop into and disconnect from the matrix, information won't save you. You can't be told how to self-actualize. You can be given directions, you can be given signposts, but until you jump out of that plane, it's almost impossible.
I'll give you a better analogy. It's like, you could watch all the videos about nutrition and diet and exercise you want, but if you're morbidly obese, you're not going to lose weight until you actually do something. Watching a YouTube video about nutrition isn't going to help you burn calories. Watching a YouTube video about how to diet and exercise isn't going to burn calories. It's only when you apply it and live it. And like the feelings, the euphoric feelings of losing weight and being able to do things, and maybe you're in pain, because of your weight. And then as you begin to lose weight, you're no longer in pain. You can do things you couldn't do before. That's fine. But you can't just watch videos about, losing weight and expect to reap those benefits. You actually have to apply it in your life and make changes in your life.
Yeah, I call it sort of almost like hoarding MGTOW information, like a suit of armor. You just keep hoarding this stuff and you never actually use it. It's almost like the metaphor of not cashing in your lottery ticket. Like you keep getting given all these great lottery tickets of information and self-actualized knowledge, and you never kind of want to go and cash in even a little bit of that money.
Well, honestly, I don't think most men are even at the self-actualized step. I think most men in the MGTOW community are in the kind of the first half of the red pill grief cycle. They're in like the denial, because when you're in denial, what you need is information. That's what a lot of people do when they find MGTOW, is they're looking for information. They're in the denial phase. Then they're in the red pill rage phase. They're looking for something to do. They want to fight back. They want to fix things. And then when they realize they can't fix things, they get depressed. And that's honestly where probably 75% of the MGTOW community is one of those three phases. They're in denial, they're angry, or they're depressed. Only when you reach past that do you like start going your own way, figuring out what you want to do with your life, finding a new meaning and purpose, and self-actualizing. And what's kind of funny is when men start to do that, they actually usually leave the MGTOW community. They reach the end of their journey. They're like, okay, I know what I want to do now. Bye. And you never see him again. Yeah. And the thing is, that's a good thing. Yeah. Like, look, if you're still watching MGTOW, now I've kind of jokingly said this, like these people who have been watching my stuff for years, I'm like, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you going your own way yet? How do you watch me for this long and you haven't? But a lot of them are like, oh, I just think you're funny, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. If you're just watching for the chuckles, then we're cool. But if you haven't self-actualized yet after years, in your own words, watching me, why something's holding you back. So you need to figure out what that thing is and address it so that you can actually like self-actualize. Don't stay in the denial, anger, and depression phase. You want to get out of that. You want to start, finding meaning and purpose in your life and doing something with it.
And some guys put a lot of pressure where they think that there's this boundary you cross and you become enlightened, rather than it's a step you start taking, and then it's almost like you start walking downhill slowly for the first time. It becomes easier. But people think it's all one moment I'm rock bottom and I'm suicidal, and next moment I'm...
No, what it is, okay, so no, what it is it's like owning a business. So when you, like, people look at the guy who built the multi-million-dollar business, and like that doesn't just happen overnight. You don't just wake up one day and you're a multi-millionaire business owner. You start out slow, you build a small business, and it grows over time. That's how self-actualization works. You basically make the commitment that you're going to take responsibility for your life. You're going to start that business. You're going to do something. You're going to find that meaning and purpose. But nothing happens. It's not like the heavens open up and a dove and a butterfly lands on your finger or something. Like, you basically you start doing it. You start living that life. You start living for yourself. You start taking responsibility for yourself. And, it's a lot of work at first, but then it becomes second nature, and then things start moving along and progressing. And then you look back and, you built a multi-million-dollar business, or you are living the lifestyle you want to live and you're happy or content, or you're at peace, however you want to describe it. And you just you don't even know when it happened. There's not like this day. Like you're kind of unusual in a sense, because you actually have like a day that something snapped and it happened. I didn't have a day where everything just snapped and it happened. It just kind of like, it's kind of like, you ever go to a family reunion and there's like a cousin you haven't seen and all of a sudden he hit his growth spurt. And so last time you saw him, he was like this tall, and then you saw him and now he's like taller than you, because he just went through puberty in that year. So in that same way, you can look back on yourself and realize you made all this progress, but it didn't seem like it at the time because it was so gradual and so consistent. It wasn't like something you just woke up and you went from like a 4-foot kid to a 6-foot teenager. It was something that just gradually, consistently happened as you lived. It's like you made everyday decisions. It wasn't one decision. It was decisions you made every day to take responsibility for yourself to do what you wanted and to stop giving a shit about people's validation.
Well, that's the point of Jordan Peterson that I actually agree with. The taking responsibility, men get a lot of meaning from it. And until you can actually sever that cord where all your responsibilities for women and what women want, and you're only working the job because of babe over here, until you can sever that and imbue responsibility and meaning for what you want to do, not what anyone else cares about, that's when you'll start actually feeling better about things. Because think about it, there's nothing worse than feeling like I have no control over anything I do. The only control I have is saying yes to be validated by. It's when you can kind of go, I don't care about anyone else's yeses. I only care about mine. It's no to everyone else. And going back to what I was saying earlier is when I listen to you, and because I'm got the glass half full perspective, I don't hear the no's you say. I hear the reactionary yeses to what you're able to do now. So until you can get to the point of just validating your own decisions, and really everyone else is an afterthought if you choose to give them room or space or time, it's very hard. You can talk about a lot of this stuff, but it won't get through to people because they still have that umbilical cord connected to mummy or the system that they've been so used to having.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't put it in that. I think it's a little condescending. But I think their mentality is still wound up in validation. So however you want to phrase that, however you want to look at that, the reason why they might see you as, negative or me as negative or whatever is because we're telling them to stop valuing validation, but they don't see anything beyond validation. So they think we're restricting them when actually once you stop defining your meaning and purpose through validation, like you could do anything. Like you're not limited by anything. Like there's validation is chains. Like we're freeing you from your chains, and you're basically saying that, oh no, I love my chains. Show me, I want to do something, but I need to keep my chains on. Like, well, no, you need to take your chains off to do that. Oh no, you're not being, you need to be more positive. I want to keep my chains on and do this thing. Like, no, let me help you with those chains. It's like, just no, you can't live for yourself. You're not going to be self-actualized if you still value validation. That's really key. In fact, some of the first videos I ever made on YouTube back in 2015, long ago, was about tribal identity, which I was talking about external validation, even though I didn't even use that term at the time. It was just, I knew that, when you value people's and you're willing to subserviate your will to them, you're taken advantage of and you'll never be happy. So it's just, you have to purge yourself of this desire for validation. Validation's fine. It's good to be validated, like, applause and money, but that shouldn't be the motivating factor. You shouldn't be doing something for the validation. You should be doing something because you would do it anyway. And if validation comes, fine. If validation doesn't come.
But that can only come when you cut that cord. Like you said, they don't want to remove the chains. They just want to add to it. Unfortunately, you can't get the good stuff without letting go of some of the bad stuff. So you can't keep your chains on and want liberation or autonomy or self-actualization. You have to lose something in order to get. There's a price to be paid.
But the thing is, you're not losing it. Like you can still, I still get external validation. Like people tell me, oh, I really like this video. That I still do get external validation, but that's not what I live for. Like some people, they live for the applause. They live for the likes. Like you see these social media people, they're all about trying to get the likes. They're trying to get a trending video. They want a new viral video. They chase this fame. They chase this external validation. And you can tell, like, and you know what? Like we get a lot of MGTOW channels. You could tell the channels that aren't going to be around very long because they try way too hard. And you could tell like they've been watching too many videos about how to create a YouTube channel. And so they're trying to follow a formula, and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to do these things, and I'm going to be the next PewDiePie." And it's like, no, you're not. Like, because there's only two ways to make it. And YouTube is very oversaturated because it's an open platform. So there's only two ways to make it in an open platform that's this heavily oversaturated. One is you got to do something nobody else is doing, or you got to do what everyone else is doing better than everyone else. But people, because they lack the creativity or just like they just can't conceive of doing something new. So they try to do what everyone else is doing, but they can't do it as good as the people who are doing it better than everyone. So they're just setting themselves up for failure, and they get frustrated and they get angry, and they try to resort to like gimmicks. And it's just like, look, just be yourself. Like the thing is trying to copy a formula that worked for someone else. That's not who you are, because you're not them. You be yourself. Nobody is you.
It's like when people go, "Oh, I want to start my own business," and you ask them, "What are you interested in?" It's like, I don't know. It's they just want to be free.
Like these women who want to start gourmet cupcake shops. Like they all have the same idea because they watched it on a fucking Facebook video. It's like, God damn it, you women, your fucking lack of imagination.
Most of them, the businesses they start has to do with fashion, babies. Right. It's always throwaway, entertainment-based or child-based, family-based products and businesses.
Yeah, and it's all, and here, the way you know it's a women business is because everything's way too overpriced. Like $100 for a baby blanket. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. It's like, oh, but it's handmade from Himalayan yak hair. Like, I don't give a fuck. Get out of here. I'll buy this Chinese baby blanket for $4.
Yeah, it's made from the hair of someone that Harvey Weinstein abused.
Yeah, you know what? It's so fucked because he traded what he had, which was money and connections, for sex. So it's like, yeah, women could trade their sex for whatever, but they're somehow rape victims so if a woman seduces a powerful man, like, oh, I want to fuck you, and can you further my career? And he's like, yeah, sure, that's fine. But if a man offers a woman to further her career in exchange for sex, he's a rapist. So basically, it's like the woman, if the woman's not initiating the exchange, or even if she is, she can still claim that she was raped. It's such bullshit. Harvey didn't do nothing.
What got me was how quickly, say you can prove that one guy was a massive arsehole, right? That how quickly the end of the sentence is, and therefore all men are arseholes. That was the dynamic. They extrapolated from Harvey Weinstein that all men are like that now. And it just became a free-for-all.
See, like, and too many people are trying to engage with feminists to try to like, oh, it's not all men. Like, look, I don't care. Like, when a feminist's like, oh, I hate all men, oh, male tears, all patriarchy. I'm like, I honestly don't give a shit. I'm not the least bit interested in talking to you and convincing you you're wrong, because feminism is a self-correcting problem. Either Western men are going to take your rights away and shut you the fuck up for the first time in your goddamn life, or they won't, and Muhammad will. So either way, someone's going to shut you up. It's either going to be them or it's going to be them. I don't care. I honestly don't give a shit, because whatever. I don't care. I don't need their validation. You fucking call me an incel, make fun of me. I don't fucking care.
With that, what's finally some questions that you're tired of, and what question do you wish people would ask you more?
Okay. You know what? The one question I'm tired of is when people ask me, like, where the link is or what song when it's in the fucking description. Before you ask me for something, click on the description. I actually put pretty detailed descriptions with like the music I use and my links. So check the description before you ask me about like what song that is or what game I'm playing or, where the link for this article I'm talking about is. It's probably in the description. But honestly, I don't get frustrated with questions, because that's why I started my channel, was to talk to people. In fact, I'm pretty active. I actually feel kind of guilty, because when I first started my YouTube channel, I would respond to every comment. I would spend hours responding to comments. And now, unfortunately, my channel's so big and I have so many subscribers and I get so many comments that I just can't keep up with it. But part of me wishes I could. Like, I could spend hours just responding to comments, because that's something I actually enjoy doing. So even if you have a stupid question, and I feel guilty sometimes because I don't have time to respond to the question, so I'll just like I'll hit the thumbs up and move on, just to let them know that I read your comment. But if I had more time, or if I had fewer subscribers and fewer comments to respond to, I would respond to every comment personally, because that's what I used to do, and I'm part of me misses that. I just don't have the time anymore.
I've noticed that you're pretty patient when I listen to the callers in your show, and you sort of you never get irritated. You listen to all of them, no matter if it's a topic you've heard a million
Yeah,
times
no, it's what
before.
I do. This is like I wanted to be a talk show host for years before I even knew what MGTOW was. This was like my dream, legit, no shit. My fucking dream was to be a talk show host. So like, yeah, I'm living the dream, baby.
Here's TFM.
I got my waifu by my side, and we're living the dream. So yeah, there's no stupid questions. There are stupid people, and we make fun of those people, but there are no stupid questions.
All right. And so what do you appreciate now that you didn't before, say, 7 years ago? What would you say to the TFM of 7 years ago?
Oh man, well, shit. I wouldn't have bothered with a lot of relationships. I would have gone my own way a lot sooner.
I'm just thinking most men would agree with that.
Yeah, I can't think of a relationship that after it was over, I felt like it was worth it. Like, I would definitely have appreciated, I mean, God, the money, the time, just the waste of like energy. Like, I could have accomplished so much more. The trajectory of my life would have been different had I not gotten in certain relationships. Like, and I'm not even like exaggerating. Like, I made career choices because of relationships.
It makes me laugh whenever they pull out the cliche, oh, it's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved. And I go, fuck, no, it isn't.
Yeah, tell that to like someone like it's better to have cancer and gotten radiation and lost all your hair and become sterile than to have never gotten cancer at all. It's like I disagree. So I would have, if I could go back in time, I would have told myself to just go your own way. I would have red pilled myself a lot earlier to just walk away from women. I didn't know the magic of sex dolls at the time. I don't know if it would have been, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like when I was in my 20s, it was just, I was a horn dog. Like I don't know if I could have convinced myself to go my own way, which is why I'm pretty patient with guys who are in their 20s who are like, oh man, I just love pussy so much. I'm like, bro, I know exactly what you mean. But I'm letting you know, once the fucking hormones settle down and your big head takes over, just remember what I'm telling you, even if you're not ready to hear it.
Yeah, but I don't think you would have. Celestina didn't exist back then anyway. You just had those ugly blow-up dolls with a massive.
Oh, the goddamn, yeah, those I didn't realize that. So the TPE dolls only go back to 2012.
Yeah.
That's when they first came out. So these are like extremely recent. So yeah, I mean, if fucking 7 years ago, if someone offered me a blow-up doll, I'd be like, get the fuck out of here with that shit. So yeah, I don't know. Obviously the experiences we have, the good ones and the bad ones, kind of make us who we are. And I did learn a lot. And sometimes, maybe this is just a way to kind of take comfort in bad things, but it's not like when you've gone through some horrible shit, it makes you more empathetic to help other people going through the same thing. So even if you could go back in time and like basically never go through those things, you could be like, well, that would have been great if I just never went through that thing. But then at the same time, the fact that you did go through those things makes you able to empathize and help other people going through similar things. So at the end of the day, while I'd have a lot more money. God damn it. If I would have gone red pill fucking years earlier, shit, I'd be retired right now.
Yeah, yeah. And well, that's another thing. That's another reason I do it too, is to talk to a younger version of myself and maybe sort of with it out there, it either helps someone, but I'm sort of getting it off my chest. I would have appreciated to hear some of the thinking and the thoughts that I'm trying to sort of talk about as well.
Yeah, but that's about it. I mean, it really, it's the only really difference is like the experiences I think did shape who I am. And I think if I hadn't gone through those experiences, I wouldn't be so sure in myself and what I believe, because having gone through it myself, I know that I'm right. But if I didn't go through those things, I'd always be second guessing myself. Like, I know future me told me this would happen, but would it really have happened? I don't know. String theory, who knows? Like, maybe in the parallel universe where it all worked out.
Yeah, butterfly
But because I
effect
did go
yeah.
through it, right. But I did go through it. So I know how it turned out. So I guess at the end of the day, other than the loss of time and money that I wish I could get back, I don't know if I'd change anything per se. Maybe I'd just give myself stock advice. I'd be like, buy Apple. Buy. like before it took off. Like, can you imagine if you go back in time, like fucking buy
Or
Apple,
Microsoft.
and then like Steve Jobs comes back and creates the fucking the iPod, and you just you're a millionaire. It'd be like Biff, the sports almanac from the future that tells them how to, how to bet on stuff.
I reckon then you'd be showing your face on YouTube then.
Here's the thing. So people have asked me if I ever have fuck you money, will I dox myself? I really won't, because for honestly, most of the whole doxing thing is about, maintaining my identity and my employability. But then also, there's also something to being an idea rather than a person, because a person can be attacked, a person can be destroyed, but an idea can't. An idea is pure. So even if I had fuck you money, I would stop worrying about being doxxed as much. Like if I was doxxed, I'd just kind of be like, I'm a millionaire, go fuck yourself. But if I wouldn't purposefully dox myself just to like, I have fuck you money, here's my face. But I wouldn't worry about it, which would be nice. It'd just be one less thing to worry about.
All right. I think we've pretty much talked our asses off. I don't want to keep you from the rest of the stuff you're doing. Thanks a lot, TFM, for spending the time and talking about this sort of shit.
Oh man, how long do we go? I'm actually curious.
I'm not sure. I'm trying to look at this. It won't let me know until I press stop.
I have it 2 hours, 35 minutes, and 27 seconds.
Like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to be notified of my next video. If you're still not being notified, check that my channel's icon is set to notify you always and not occasionally. And feel free to donate via my links below. It keeps me creating and I do appreciate it. And a massive thank you to recent donators Jeffrey, Blaze, and Jorma. Thanks, guys.